morning, you sexy people. It is Friday. It's the weekend, baby. Yes, I do love a Friday. I don't know why I'm so excited about it. Might be, and I don't want to jinx it, but it's warmer.
Yes.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I woke up this morning. I was like, I don't think I have to wear like 8 layers of clothing this morning.
Maybe 2, but not 8.
Look, so I say I don't want to jinx it, but someone already told me yesterday there's going to be some kind of cold front or some shit like that. So I'm not excited about that. But for now, I'm having a good time. And we're not going to let anything get us down this Friday morning. Nothing. I'm not in the least bit worried about a damn thing. We're going to have fun.
Yes.
You're going to have fun. I'm going to have fun. We're all going to have fun.
Keep pay weekend as well. So please,
yes.
don't ruin my mood.
Yes, pay weekend. Good point. Thank you,
So-
Simphiwe. Very good point.
Yes.
See, reasons to be happy.
Yes.
That's why you come to us. Well, do I have a bunch of stupid, crazy shit to show you this morning? I was on social media yesterday. You know, you have those days where just everything makes you laugh or makes you go, huh?
Mm-hmm.
There was a ton of that shit yesterday. Tons of it. And I found myself completely down the rabbit hole for, you know, when you get into bed and I know it's the worst thing ever and people tell me you shouldn't do it. It's bad for you. Don't sleep properly, blah, 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 blah. But I went down this YouTube, then Instagram, then a whole bunch of other things. And I just found all this crazy shit. Like, I mean, for starters, and I don't know how you feel about this, but they had testimony in Congress about the aliens. And, you know, we were talking about the aliens just the other day. So this is what they said. For the first time in history, the U.S. Congress has held a UFO hearing, and former intelligence officials turned whistleblowers have given Congress classified information about deeply covert programs that they say possess retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin. When asked on whether the remains were human or non-human, the whistleblower, who was a David Charles Grush, he's a former major, confirmed that they were non-human. The information, he says, has been illegally withheld from Congress. He filed a complaint alleging that he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures, reported here for the first time. So this is going up in front of Congress. Now, I know there are a bunch of people who say, oh, no, it's just the distraction. They're trying to do this because they think people are stupid. Well, I must be one of those stupid people because I'm distracted. And I don't think this is just a nothing story. You know, forgive me. I know there are people who will say, oh, well, you know, the politicians are trying to make themselves important here.
Yeah, but
They're trying to distract us from Ukraine, Russia, from Hunter Biden, from a whole lot of other crap. Fine, fair enough. But I'm still taking this at face value until we get better information. I've been one of those people who's been sitting my whole life waiting for some alien proof, Simphiwe.
well, I've watched enough movies to kind of believe this, to be like, you know what? It's happened in a movie somewhere before where there was a alien invasion and we were not ready for it. And I think this is just step one. Like, this is like,
Thank you.
the world is coming to an end, guys. Repent, hey? Yeah, guys.
Get ready to repent.
The world is just going good. My final words to you guys, repent. That's all.
All right. Yeah, you motherfuckers. Repent. All right, listen. Here's what she said. This congresswoman from South Carolina was asking the guy questions.
Do you believe we have
happened.
crashed craft, stated earlier? Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha.
Right. So what do you make of that, huh?
It's getting juicy. This feels like a K-drama happening right before our eyes.
I'm
And
telling
then
you.
just like, what's next? Episode 2.
I'm not going to say this is bullshit yet. I refuse. Big part of me wants to believe it's true, right? The aliens are coming. So I found a map of
Okay.
the world and where all the aliens have been sighted. Just look at this map. This should make you think twice, I suppose. That's where reported UFO sightings have happened since the turn of the century of 1906 to 2014. Okay. So please look at where all of them happen. I mean, the UK is lit up like a light bulb. Holland looks lit up like a light bulb. But by far and away, the biggest source of UFO sightings is the United States of America. I mean, the rest of the world is like a tiny, tiny smattering of sightings, but almost all of them in the US of A, and a lot of them in the kind of eastern half of the USA. You know, there's a lot going on there. Now, I don't know what you make of that. And a lot of people say, oh, it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. Just dismiss it. I don't know so much.
Yeah, come the man in black. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you. Like,
there's been movies, guys.
Repent.
They won't repent. The end is near. Repent.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, I saw that and I was very taken aback. One of my friends, in fact, I've known this guy for 10 years now. He is actually preparing for this. And he's not an idiot, okay? Before you jump to conclusions, he's not a moron. He's not some kind of nutcase. He's not some kind of like off the hook, lives out in the middle of the Karoo, doesn't talk to other human beings, has like tinfoil on his head. He's not one of those people. He's a smart guy. He ran a very, very big
about
company.
that?
Yes. Ran a big company for a long time. He says, definitely, there's something going on here. He says, it's been foretold, he says, and there's too much evidence. And I mean,
okay, wait.
When I talk to him, I feel like I've entered the Twilight Zone.
Okay, how is he preparing? Is he going to have like a underground dungeon?
He has, he has bought one of these motorhomes.
Okay. Your friends, Gareth.
I'm not going to make fun of it because if he's right.
Yes, we the idiots.
Guess who the first person is I'm calling? It's going to be him. I'm like, you got extra space in that motorhome? Anyway, he reckons you've got to grow your own food. You've got to live off the grid.
Okay.
He reckons that everything's going to go down. Anyway, look, I mean, I'm not going to mock and ridicule him now because when he talks to you, you almost fall for it all, hook, line, and sinker.
Okay.
Right? And he's really not an idiot. And there are times we've spoken and I've thought, oh my God, I need to prepare as well. Really. And then there are times I put down the phone and I go, maybe I should get him some help. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Just repent. Just be ready.
Just ask for forgiveness. And I think everything will be okay afterwards.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't know.
that's it.
I don't know. So a lot of people here have got comments. I believed in aliens until the government told me there were aliens. To me, it's obvious there are aliens. Humans are a hybrid race. We're so out of place on this planet, says Duds.
Well, apparently these aliens are like 50,000 years ahead of us. So maybe they just look at us and they're like, idiots.
Bakabantu wants credit for the world coming to the end that he's been predicting for the longest time, Armageddon. So he says, Simphiwe, that sounds familiar.
I mean, your words are the end is now.
Yeah, that's what Bakabantu
My
says.
words are repent.
I think yours are probably more useful. Producer Ryan says, are these just people who identify as aliens? Because that could explain a lot. We are not the only ones in this universe, says Shani. Really, you're sensible and logical. They would have killed us long ago if they weren't benevolent. You see, what I don't get is if they did make it all the way across the universe, thousands of light years, millions of light years, and they did get here, why would they crash here? Like, you're telling me
it's a holiday destination, dude.
So they could go gazillions of light years across the universe, and then what? It's a bit of a wind. Oh, look, we're losing control over the Arizona desert. I don't think so.
I think so.
I think if you can travel through vast depths of space, I don't see why. Look, this is where I have my own doubts, all right?
Okay.
So I have two creatures living in my head at the moment. There's one creature that really believes in aliens and wants it to be true. And there's another creature who's like skeptical as hell. And I can't decide which one rules yet.
I'm just saying I understand why they came to Earth. They're probably looking at us and they're like, rubbish. You guys do this? What is this? What is this technology? And they're just laughing at us and they're just like, you know, if it is true, you know, I also don't know if I want to believe it or not, but hey.
Well, I don't know. There are lots of people here who have plenty to say about it in the comments section, and I don't know who to believe. That's the problem, because some of our listeners are very, very smart, and they've corrected me where I've got things wrong, and some of them are totally moronic. So, I mean, who do I believe? I don't know. This is very difficult for me. Simphiwe, I think it's too much for a Friday morning. I think we're going to change subject.
Please.
And what I want to change to is, I mean, look at this man's face. He's
Cupcake.
President Cupcake, always in shock. That face, I'm going to turn that into a meme.
What happened there? Like,
I don't know, but he looks very surprised. And you know, Cyril's always surprised when he finds out there's corruption or there's something going wrong,
just like,
something going right. He's always like, oh, I'm so surprised. That's what he always says. So that's the face that's going to go with it. We're going to turn that into a meme, all right? Surprised Cyril. This is interesting. And I'm pleased that we're going to do this before Ben comes in, because Ben doesn't care about this at all. But here is a story. I hate to say I told you so, but Spotify has taken a $45 million hit after axing Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Now, that headline is misleading. The network said the company was stepping out of some deals and relationships that haven't worked out. We overpaid relative to what we should have done. In other words, they overpaid Meghan and Harry didn't deliver. So they axed them, and it's cost them $45 million. Doesn't mean they've lost $45 million since axing Harry and Meghan, because people went, oh, well, if you don't have Harry and Meghan, we're not going to come and watch. But this is bad news for Spotify, right?
yeah.
Because they've been on the up and up the whole time since they bought on Joe Rogan and all the rest of it. It's been going really well for them. Meghan and Harry, bad investment. The audio streamer laid off about 6% of its workforce back in January, and hundreds more employees later. And the story goes on. The head of podcast business wrote in a blog post, we've made the difficult but necessary decision to make a strategic realignment. You know, when people talk like that, what they mean is we got to fire people.
Yeah, bo.
And the decision came after Meghan and Harry's famous audio deal could not rake in the amount of money that was expected. Shortly after, the couple's podcast was snubbed by the streamer. Insiders have claimed the royal couple failed to meet the productivity benchmark. So in other words, they were just lazy. Right?
I'm not surprised. I mean, they are like these rich people that expect everyone to do all the work. And it's like, what? I'm supposed to market this?
Well, Meghan is apparently going to create more podcasts, but they're not interested in her anymore. They've said, sorry, we don't want your podcast. Because you know what she's going to do? It's going to be these like, this is me and my rich friends complaining about how hard our lives are.
But no one wants to hear that.
No, clearly
like,
not.
We really don't.
No, nobody does.
Like, tell us about aliens and UFOs and
Right.
that you saw them.
Well, Meghan doesn't have any of that, unfortunately. But listen to this paragraph. Meghan and Harry are reportedly under tremendous financial pressure and are finding it hard to fund their lifestyle.
Oh, it's going down. It's going shikuku. Yeah, ne?
Amid backlash and snubs, Harry recently reached out to William to discuss the possibility of returning to the UK. Ooh, with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, kumbule kaya. That's what he's having right now. He's going back home, and he's like, you know what? I tried with you Americans. This is not working for me.
You know when the Brits always sing, "It's coming home." It's going. They mean the World Cup, but it never comes home. Harry's coming home. That's all I'm going to get. And I think this is what I've predicted from the beginning. I said Meghan and Harry would split up. It's not going to last. I know some people don't care about this stuff. I haven't even checked the comments. I'm sure there are people there already going, we don't care about Harry and Meghan. It's been a big story for a long time, and we've got to follow up on it. Otherwise, it's like those corruption stories that you always wish Carte Blanche would pick up on like 5 years later, and maybe we've got some resolution. Yeah. Well, this is turning into a resolution story. We're slowly starting to find out that actually these two are not going to stay together forever.
In fact, we're finding out that they were the problems.
Yeah.
Like maybe in the beginning we thought everybody else was the problem and they were going through it. But now we are finding out that guys, y'all the toxic ones. Y'all need help. Y'all actually
repent.
Thank you. Danko.
There's a theme for this morning. Repent. Anyway, so there's lots going on there. That's also worthy of discussion. So we've got into aliens. We've got into Meghan and Harry. There's still more. I have lots for you today. So this I thought was an interesting observation. We don't do politics on a Friday because we don't enjoy politics most days. Mashatile's VIP protection unit members, this is, I thought, too important to ignore. This is from Ian Cameron, who's been on the show before. Mashatila's VIP protection unit members in highway assault case must remove masks, the magistrate said. Now, first of all, if these guys are innocent as they claim,
But they're not.
why would they hide their faces? Right? Of course they're not. You're spot on. I mean, like your face says it all. Simphiwe's like, but they're not. Okay, but why would they be wearing their masks? Because they know they've effed up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They were standing in the court, not only with hoodies and balaclavas and whatever else they could do to cover their faces, but masks, which frankly, I don't think I've seen since, I don't know, maybe about 2021. I haven't seen a mask for a long time. These guys must have really searched high and low to find these things. But they were all covered up like you could not believe. Not one face shown. And I think they should have to remove their masks. And that's what the magistrate said in the case. So good. Take off your masks, you goons, so we can see who you are and we can shame and embarrass you in public. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yes. I just want to see who they are. And I think that's what they're trying to hide, not
Yeah,
only from the
exactly.
public, but from the people that actually gave them the contract. Because you know how this world works. If you mess up, then it's done with you.
Damn right.
So
we'll see what happens with that. But we got to keep an eye on that one too, right? Like Harry and Meghan, you got to see what happens. And we're not going to just let it go.
Yeah, we're invested.
We have interests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to save a couple of things for when Ben comes in, because I have found a few people who really need to be made more of an example of. You know how we talked about shame since I just rang the shame bell? You brought it up, Ben brought it up. There needs to be shame brought back. Well, I have 3 people at least, maybe even 4.
That we are shaming
We're
today.
going to shame this morning.
Ooh.
And that require some shame.
Okay.
But before we get to anything like that, someone made a hilarious version of Joe Biden as the woman who had a fire in her apartment. You seen this?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
I can just imagine.
You know that whole, I ran for my life, Jesus.
Yes.
Ain't nobody got time for that. You know that woman?
Yes.
So look at this. This is absolutely brilliant. They've taken like Joe Biden's face and voice. I don't know who did this, but if this is AI, I'm all for it.
Well,
Okay?
I woke up to go give me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes and then Jesus. I ran for my life. And then a smooth gap behind God, bro, guidance. Ain't nobody got time for that.
For that. That's like the line of the century. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I love it. Ain't nobody got time for that. That woman, I mean, that joke was what, 12 years ago or something now?
Wait, is it that old?
I don't know, but it's still good. Because I eventually, after watching that one with Joe, I had to go and see the original, right?
Damn.
So I watched the original. I watched the original and I started laughing again. So some things are evergreen.
Yeah.
Speaking
Ain't nobody got time for that.
There, you just said it right. So speaking of things that are evergreen and hilarious, Nik Rabinowitz is coming in this morning, which is great. He's got a new show called Rambunctious, and it's going to be happening at the Theatre on the Square in Sandton, and he's here to publicize that, and he's going to drop in and say hello to us. And we always love having Nik in here. He's just such a talented comedian, actor, author, great guy. He'll be joining us just after 7 o'clock this morning. Ben will be in too. We'll be talking about the scoreboard, Beyond the Scoreboard, with Super Bets and with Ben. And of course, that is where we get to hear about what to bet on. Now, Simphiwe's got some updates on that from her own point of view.
Yes.
We'll get to it. You mentioned to me that you think AI is not getting smarter, it's getting dumber.
Yep.
And we were just talking about how if AI made that Joe Biden clip, that would be the best thing ever. But you're not so positive and optimistic about AI.
No, it's not even just me.
Okay.
Scientists have actually come up with like a study and a report to say that ChatGPT is getting dumber.
Because people are interacting with it. That's why.
Yeah,
the more people AI encounters, the more stupid AI is going to become. We always thought it would be that AI would make us cleverer, but AI is actually getting dumber because of us.
And
That's
I
hilarious.
laughed at this. I was like, this is the most human trait to have. Like, it's a human trait. Like, you start off getting 90s for your tests, and now you just like can't even answer, what is 1 + 1. And I think this is absolutely amazing. So if you are using ChatGPT, just know that it is getting dumber. It's going to get a bit worse before it gets better.
So what are they cite as examples of the stupid that AI is churning out? Because, I mean, we are playing around with it here in the office as well, seeing how it can do certain things for us. And a lot of people are experimenting with it.
Yes.
And a lot of people are very, very excited about it. They think it's going to lower the workload, shortcut some very long processes, do some of the heavy lifting for them. And that's all good. So where is it getting dumber? Have we got examples of this?
Yeah, so they did like a test at Stanford University, and basically like every time a new model gets released, they do the IQ test, and like first time it got like 98, and they recently did it with the most recent Chat GPT-4, and it got like 90. So it did worse than what the older models did.
Really?
Yeah, bro. And they were like, they have no reason. They don't understand why it's getting dumber. They really don't.
I'm telling you, it's because it's interacting with people.
But they're trying to find out what is happening. And my thing is
disappointing.
like, this is so fun. This is so fun because it's becoming a full-fledged human.
Yeah.
Before you know it, it's just gonna be like,
In
you know
order
what?
to really
I'm
be
done.
like on a human level, it needs a lot more stupid. And that's what it's probably doing. It's probably factoring that in. Like the Chat GPT algorithm is going, guys, we're too smart here for the humans. We need to add a bit of stupid. 3 teaspoons of stupid every day. We're outperforming ourselves. The humans are going to catch on. If we're really going to be useful to these people, we need to be authentically stupid. And that's what's going to happen.
I don't know, but there's so many things happening in the AI world. So let's see what happens. You know, I'm just like, this is very human. Very, very human.
Yeah. Yuval Noah Harari kind of alluded to that, saying AI isn't that impressive in respect of trying to make it smart. You're basically making it learn from ourselves, and we don't even understand us. Well, that's true. So maybe it isn't AI, as Gijs Brits says, it's AS, artificial stupidity. It could be happening. Duh. Maybe what we need to do is input like Homer Simpson into AI, because that would be more representative of humankind, right? So you have like Homer Simpson and his dumb sayings. Because we were talking last week about The Simpsons. The Simpsons is really just a mirror to humanity. Humans are making it dumb. People intentionally telling it 2 + 2 is 5, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure
But it
that's
should
happening.
overwrite that, right?
No, it's how does it know what's right? If the more feed, it acts on inputs, and probably inputs on scale. So if you ran a bot farm and you told the bots to keep inputting wrong information into AI, the AI would start thinking, well, if all of these different inputs are telling me that this is right or that it's wrong, maybe I should believe it. I don't know that there is a golden thread of truth in any of this. It's basically like the internet. It's going to take all of the information available to it, and that information may not be distributed along the lines of truth. It may be distributed along the lines of conspiracy theory, nonsense, bullshit, all of that stuff. And it puts that in, and it just treats it all the same. Like, it doesn't weigh true information as necessarily being more valuable than false. So if you have a lot of dumb people saying to it 2 + 2 is 5, maybe it'll start thinking, maybe you should take this into consideration, because we are the masters, right? We are the chief inputs for this thing.
Yes.
So I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't know the difference between wrong and right. Well, that's like humans, right, George? Good morning, y'all, says Traveling Ninja Turtle. We're off to Rhodes in Greece for a week tomorrow, hoping the wildfires there don't impact our trip.
Must be nice.
I saw the fires on the news. It looks devastating. Rhodes is a beautiful island. It's closer to Turkey than it is to Greece. And it is the site of the famous Colossus of Rhodes, which was a statue that stood over the harbor of Rhodes. Massive, massive bronze statue, which fell down during an earthquake in, I think it was somewhere around 30, 40 BC. I might be wrong on those dates, but somewhere around there. And it was one of the wonders of the world. There were 7 wonders of the ancient world, and that was one of them.
Oh, that's nice.
AI works on machine learning. Therefore, the more trivial or incorrect information we feed it, the more things it learns along those paths. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Lots of people saying, including Brandewijn Asseblief, which is a great name, says, Ninja Turtle, you brave. That place is burning. I see lots of people on holiday at the moment in the Mediterranean, which looks amazing. I mean, must be nice, but I did it the other day, so I can't complain.
Yeah,
And I
hey?
can't be jealous because I've had my turn. They were jealous of me once. Now I'm jealous of them. I'm just happy that it's getting warmer here and we're on the downhill to summer. It
I'm
doesn't feel, I
counting
know it
down the
doesn't feel
days.
like it, but we're almost at the end of July. And then you know what happens, right? I mean, we always talk about this and it frustrates and irritates some people. But once you hit August, the year is pretty much done
Yes.
because you blink your eyes and it's like, oh my God.
Summertime.
Yeah, it's all done. So you've got to be really, really intentional about what you do for the next couple of months because it's unlikely that people are going to launch new projects, do anything really brave, commit to anything serious. You know what
Oh.
people are like. They're like, well, the end of the year is just around the corner. I don't think we'll do that.
Yeah, but what I have noticed is that I don't know what's going on with the promoters of South Africa, but they are bringing in so many big artists. Like I can't keep up.
Really?
Yes, like Kendrick Lamar's coming. There's Boyz
I
II
saw
Men.
that. I saw
There
Kendrick
is
Lamar's
like
coming,
Burna
yeah.
Boy. He's coming.
Mm.
There's like so many international artists. Her, Khalid, and I'm just like, where are we supposed to get the money? Where, guys? Just wait.
Well,
like
Clearly,
no.
these people, I mean, listen, that's optimism at work, right?
Mhm.
And that's not a bad thing. We want that.
Mhm.
We don't want people to give up on us. We don't want promoters to say, oh, no, there's no money in South Africa, because then we won't have any live shows.
Yes.
And people want to see stuff. I don't know where the money's coming from. I hope that these guys are going to cover their costs, but good.
I'm just
Be
saying,
brave.
as the consumer here who's looking at all these lineups, I'm just like, where am I supposed to get the money to attend each and every one of these concerts? And the ticket prices are also ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know in what economy we are living in, because why is a ticket $3,000? General
Well,
$3,000.
don't you have I mean, listen, I wouldn't pay $3,000 for a ticket to
General, not even VIP, not even bags.
I wonder what VIP is. Probably like 20 grand or something.
Wow, guys,
And
I'm
that's-
just
and
like,
who has that? Who has that lying around? I ask you with tears in my eyes. I know we've got very rich people, a few of them in this country, but they're not enough to fill out a
that's what
stadium.
I'm like, guys, you're bringing in these guys, but
Mm.
also ticket prices are ridiculously
crazy.
expensive. Yo,
So if you want to
just-
afford these things, there is apparently a side hustle on TikTok that may be a way for you to make some money.
yes,
All of us can become
Well, this is
rich. Well, I don't know about rich, but we can find some
let me
extra
practice
cash.
right now. Right.
So what do you have to do? I'm so uninformed about TikTok. And by the way, we spoke about this the other day, and it's I'm not so proud of having been one of the first people on Threads, because who cares, right? You haven't even bothered.
No,
Ah.
I saw it for what it was. I was
Yeah,
like,
Sorry.
there's a bunch of hype. I'm not going to
Some
join.
bullshit.
Let me see how it goes. And then
Mhm.
it just went shikikikiki. And whoever is still on Threads, shout out to you. But that's not for me. So
But
this
TikTok, there's stuff happening.
Yes, so I'm gonna practice right now. Let me know if I'm doing this, if I'm doing justice to this, because this, if you see TikTok videos of me doing this, don't judge me. I'm making money, guys. So there's this new trend of content creators kind of becoming like an NPC. So they'll be like,
That's
"Hi."
a what? Non-player character.
Yeah, well,
So these are just people in the background, extras in a movie. They're all just
And
they're
they do
there. They're
these-
just doing quiet, unimportant things.
yeah, and they do these lives where they're just like very like robotic, and they're like, Gareth, are you good? Ice cream,
And they repeat
cream.
the same line, huh?
bang, bang, bang.
There we go.
Ah, you know, ice cream, and they get
That's
paid.
all they do.
That's all they get paid. Like you can send like these
know,
emoji things on TikTok.
Here I am wasting my life trying to be interesting, trying to like figure out things, trying to be curious about the world, have interesting conversations with people, make myself more amusing. But I've been wrong. I should
Yeah.
have just been looking for a way to be stupid and boring.
Yes, and all they say is ice cream, bang, bang. Ben walked in.
Yeah. So they repeat these dumb lines. They're non-player characters. They don't have
Yes.
any. There's nothing going on there. They're
No,
just
so
taking up
they-
space.
They do these lives and TikToks, and then you can like send like these emojis, but you have to pay some money. So that's how they make their money. Because when
Huh.
you send that, they'll be like, "Oh, ice cream, someone, Bap, 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 bap. Ice cream, and
That's
like the
all
more
they do.
That's all they do for hours and hours on live.
I think
And
some
they
people.
make
I think some people's actual
millions.
lives are like NPC lives. I think there are a lot of people in the world who are NPCs.
But they make like between like $2,000 to $8,000 per stream.
Well, I'm not jealous of them at all. What do you think, Ben? Are you an NPC?
You know who also?
What?
You know who can also make $2,000 to $8,000 per stream? Prostitutes.
Oh,
Don't think because you make money for something you're doing something great. Yeah,
Oh,
good.
Do I have a treat for you two for a Friday morning?
Nice.
All right. So we've talked about shame. We've even brought the shame bell back into the studio.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of examples here of some people. And if you are watching us on YouTube, this may be more fun for you than if you're just listening to the podcast. But you can always find this on YouTube afterwards.
Okay.
So if you really want to see the video, then you can go and check that out. And also like and subscribe, et cetera, et cetera.
Very important.
So first things first, we've talked about people who don't look after themselves. And here is a man with the most disgusting feet you've ever seen in your life.
I thought you said it was a treat.
Standing in flip-flops. No, trust me, this gets worse. This is the best way to start. All right, are you ready? Here's a guy. Check these feet out, and then Simphiwe, you can describe them to everybody who's just listening. All right, watch this.
This shit is crazy, boy. That's crazy. Good morning, America.
Okay, who's going to describe it? Looks like he stepped in cake. But it's not. It's like the flaky, gross, white.
I didn't need to start today like this.
I'm sorry, but we
agree,
have to.
Ben.
We have
I'm
to
a bit
explain it.
traumatized now
I
after
came in here,
that.
there's
Explain
fluffy
it.
clouds on here.
Explain
See
it.
that?
Yo,
Go on.
guys.
Try and explain it.
So as Gareth said, it looks like he stepped in flour, like a whole lot of flour, and it got hard.
Shame.
And now it's his feet are cracking,
Yeah.
they dry. But I can handle the heels that are cracked.
It's the toes, the
It's the
toenails.
nails.
That
the
are looking
toenails.
like
They look like talons,
oh.
but they're also white and they look a bit fungal,
Yeah.
right?
He
this-
doesn't love himself.
But he wears shoes that are open. I mean, he probably can't wear closed shoes.
Yeah.
I don't think you get shoes that are that wide.
I think why I hate seeing things like that is because you look at his feet, but my mind is already going to what else is he really horrible at? And I start imagining where this hovel this person lives out of and what's in its fridge and that kind of stuff.
All right, here's another one for you. Now, she's not as disgusting by any means. In fact, she looks
It's
after
worse.
herself, but she looks after herself a little too well. First of all, these nails, she has fake nails on, but they are
Really?
insane. I don't know how she does anything. Someone said that there's a video of her changing a contact lens, which would traumatize me. But watch this. This is her making what she calls coffee. And also pay attention to what she's actually putting in this mixture that she calls coffee. Are you ready?
Yo, last night was so bad. I don't know what I'm allergic to. As far as that made my allergies this bad. I could not breathe last night. My eye was bloodshot red, y'all. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it's the stuff that I sprayed on the couch, because the last place I was last night was sitting on the couch, and I don't know if that's what it was or what, but yo, when I tell you I was freaking out, and all of this happened at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, Lord. So I just thank God we had Benadryl here, so I could sleep, y'all, because if I didn't have the Benadryl, baby, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep for real. I'm not even gonna put the other thing. Ooh. I love, what is that?
Okay, so I don't know what that mixture is. What's the first question, Ben? You seem to need to have some clarity on something.
Well, judging by her dietary habits, the next step is the toilet. How does she wipe her bottom?
So I've seen one or two.
Does she
of
have a
them.
video where she does that? Because I am all ears.
They explain.
You've seen those claws, right?
Yeah, but she's
Yes.
basically putting like a bag of claws into a dark area to do dark things. How is she?
Going to
There's a whole-
definitely rip open that area.
No, there's a whole technique behind
What?
it. So she's not like the first lady
Is she
I've
going
seen.
with a loofah?
I have no idea, but basically, it's this new trend. I also don't understand that girls are doing their nails extremely long. Hers are a bit curved, but some of them are straight.
Yeah.
So that these long, straight coffin nails, and they like basically show you how they live their lives. Like they don't open the door. Like
She changes contact lenses somehow.
yes, like
that's I
with a
can
knuckle or
understand.
something like that. Like they use the back of the hand and they'll tell you
It's
that
a-
this
it's
is
a
what I
very
do to pick up
definite input.
like a coin or a penny.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's just signing up for struggle.
that I'm fine with because it's one impact point to one receptor point.
Nice.
Wiping
I
your
say
bum is not.
Shame bell.
Well, obviously. But again, I've got
That's-
questions.
That's already twice in one morning.
You want to open up Pandora's box with me here? I want to ask questions.
Go on more.
No, that's just it. I just
Okay,
think that
there's more.
Simphiwe didn't
right.
answer that at all.
Here is a naked woman on the highway
What
in
the-
Los Angeles,
What?
yeah, shooting
Okay.
people with a gun at random.
Real gun?
Look at this. Watch. There is obviously traffic, and the cars are moving, and then suddenly you see in the distance there is a naked woman standing in the divider between the two sides of the highway. She's got a gun, but you can't see that yet. And what you'll see now is she like gestures towards cars, but it's not a gesture. She's actually firing. There we go. She's firing a gun. Do you see that? She's a naked woman firing a gun. These guys who are filming her, they hide their camera a little bit, but then they can't help themselves. There she is, bare ass naked, walking down the highway, shooting at people. And then she runs out of bullets, so she runs into the center again. Now, I don't know what in your life would lead you. Huge amounts of meth, maybe.
Blue states, meth.
Homelessness, serious mental health problems. How does someone like that get a gun? And imagine you're just driving down the highway and a naked woman starts shooting at you. You're just trying to get to work.
Yeah.
You're just trying to start your day. So again, it's just things we're going to wear out the shame bell this morning.
That thing's going to just drop off.
So you think that's bad? But there is a solution to
Don't
people.
tell me wait. There's more.
There's more. Okay, listen, I've brought you a chest freezer full of surprises this morning, like Jeffrey Dahmer. All right, here's a naked man who's misbehaving in traffic, and someone actually does know how to deal with people like this. Watch.
Отъезжай! Да, важный стоит так. Так.
Nice.
Out
Love
like
it.
out like a light.
That was a good punch.
Good
because
punch,
he
right
threw
in
it
the
from an
jaw.
area that wasn't in the eyesight. That's how you do
Came
it.
from underneath.
Yeah.
Very good. But
And he shifted his weight well.
if you find, and there was a naked guy who used to hang around in Marlborough, at the Marlborough off ramp on the N3.
Mhm.
He was some kind of lunatic homeless guy who would walk up and down the road there. He didn't have a gun, thank God. But I do think that we have some seriously messed up people in the world.
Hugely.
And I was only on the internet for maybe an hour last night, and I have more than you could possibly bargain for. I have one last one, and then I promise you we will return our attention to more important things. But look at this. This is just absolutely unbelievable. All right. This is the most pleasant human being you're ever likely to encounter. You really want your Friday to be filled with happiness and joy and positivity and optimism and, you know, the love of life. Well, here's someone who'll bring you right down.
Nobody needs you to advocate for how difficult it is to use gender-neutral pronouns. Nobody said that the gender binary was f***ing easy. These are not my preferred pronouns. These are my pronouns. You will use them, or you will not refer to me. At all. If you misgender me by mistake, fix it and move on. I don't need your elaborate apology. I don't care how many times you say sorry. Just don't do it again. Moreover, if someone else misgenders me, it is never your job to tell them that it's okay. 'Cause it isn't. I get it. The discussion of the gender spectrum confuses you, and that's fine. But if you don't know anything about it, don't f***ing speak on it.
Oh.
So pleasant. I mean, just the kind of person you really want to bump into.
You know, a while ago, Cliff, you told me that you hated when people stop on a highway to look at a car crash and mess up everyone else's day. Sharing shit like that to me is the same thing. It's
Come
a car.
on, Ben.
It's a car crash. Someone's done a boo boo. Let them be stupid.
Shame bell.
We don't ever need to see or hear messes like that. Like it's not even half funny anymore.
I mean, that one is so aggro though. She's
I felt attacked. I was just
she's-
like, what did I do to you, girl? Like,
She's ginger with
oh,
piercings. I
they,
mean,
them.
she's got a lot of piercings, eh? I think number of piercings equals amount of avoidance required.
Oh.
Seriously, if you've got more than one piercing, and I don't mean like one, one is like both ears. If you got more than that,
Mhm.
I don't care what your gender is. I'm probably going to be a little bit careful of you, okay, especially if you've got the ring in the nose. She had a ring in the lip, a ring above.
Isn't
the
that painful? Like,
teeth.
I always
I'm sure it is.
wonder.
I'm sure
like,
it is. It's self-loathing. There's no other way to describe that. But these are just examples that I pulled off yesterday. Okay, I could do this every day.
please don't.
I won't, but it's important that we know what's out there, okay? This is part of what we have to be aware of.
It's important to know what's in front of you in life, not what's out there. There's excrement in all shapes, forms, and lifeness. Don't touch it.
I knew you guys would just love these people that I brought you this morning. That's all. So I brought you some extra good stuff. Okay? We happy now.
Pretty sure good parenting could have stopped all of those situations.
How about we do a little sport to get
Yes.
our minds back into the real world and the world that we actually want to be a part of. So let's do this. Okay, so Ben, what do you got for us in the world of sport this morning? Let's check it out with Super Bets and Beyond the Scoreboard.
Yeah, we got lots to go beyond the scoreboard with this weekend. Bit lean last weekend in attractions, but Rugby Championship is back. So let's start with that one. Australia are taking on New Zealand. Now, this is what's known as the Bledisloe Cup. It's the big derby between those people who live on the opposite side of the ditch, if you speak middle-class Australian. Now, Australia have not won the Bledisloe Cup since the American Pie 2 movie came out. 2001, Simphiwe. A lot of people who listen to the show weren't even born when Australia won the Bledisloe Cup. But Eddie Jones, to his credit, he will not stop talking out of his ass, and he believes that they can do it. Eddie, they can't. So what does that mean? Well, obviously, when you go to Superbets' site, you think, what's the handicap New Zealand are going to have to make this a worthwhile bet? Well, you'll get 0.9, so $100 down, 90 back bonus. If you go with New Zealand winning by more than 15.5, so basically 16 and up, which I think is a fair bet. If you want to go a little bit safer, bet for them with a handicap of 14 points. I mean, think about it. Aussies came here, they got trousered, 6-love. Then they lost to Argentina at home. Now they're playing a rampant New Zealand, and they'll do it for 2 weekends in a row if you really do like watching them lose. South Africa, again, we've tweaked the team. It's still very strong. It'll be at Ellis Park. So if you don't mind a bit of like Central Africa thrown into your doorstep and a little bit of overzealous car guarding, head on down to Ellis Park. You can watch South Africa versus Argentina. That'll be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. SA, of course, big favorites here. And rightly so, I think. Yes, they lost to the All Blacks quite handsomely last time out, and the RGs will be very confident after beating Australia, but at altitude, no. For me, the biggest thing this weekend is UFC 291 and the BMF belt. Now, some people, you know what BMF stands for?
No, sir.
Baddest motherfucker.
All right.
And that is Gaethje versus Poirier. Okay, so these two have fought before in the lightweight division 4 or 5 years ago. Poirier was the better fighter that night. He won out. But Gaethje is known as the human highlight. Basically, this guy is violence personified, and he's so exciting to watch. He really is. Poirier, though, he's the guy that basically humbled Conor McGregor and made him essentially retire because, let's be honest, he ain't coming back. So this fight is going to be pound for pound a fantastic, absolute ripper of a fight, and hence the BMF belt has come back just for this. Alex Pereira, or if you speak Brazilian, Alex Pereira, he is the guy who obviously was Israel Adesanya's boogeyman. Now, he is a massive man. It's called Poatan, Hands of Stone. He's going up to light heavyweight where he'll take on Jan Blachowicz. So he's a Polish man, if you didn't pick that up. And he used to be a past champion. Also, he beat Israel Adesanya. So there's so much going on in this fight because both of them beat Dricus' new mate. So pound for pound, again, this is such a great matchup because Pereira is so powerful and so is Blachowicz. She's a big, strong man. That is the co-main event. And another fight you'll be really interested in is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Michelle Pereira. Now, Michelle looks like the kind of guy you stay far away from if you go on a tropical holiday. Ooh. He's like the kind of gigolo person who comes on the beach, schlong down to his knee, charismatic, charming, all of those things. Plus, this man can fight. So, stylistically, this is an absolute beast. This is a great, great main card. And that is UFC 291. Now, unfortunately, Banyana 2-0 up against Argentina this morning. With about 20 minutes to go. Unfortunately, they drew 2-2.
You know why that's particularly upsetting to Simphiwe?
So I finally placed my first bet.
And you bet on Banyana.
Of course. I mean, after their first match against Spain and how they actually held their own.
Sweden, I think, but let's go with Spain.
Yes.
No.
I was close enough.
Let me not take your thunder.
I was close enough. They did such a great job. I was like, they have it in the bag. They
So
have
close,
it.
you're right. And a fair bet it would have been. And they were doing well. Anyway, so now they've gone 2-2, and now they have to beat Italy next week. Tall order, really. But I mean,
maybe you want to bet on them again next week.
Hey, I'm not sure about
double
that
down.
one.
Keep rolling that dice. So I think we'll leave it there on the FIFA Women's World Cup. Unfortunately, I mean, it's so good. Like, they're making progress. These are good performances, but they're just not getting them done at the end. Now, I got to be honest with you. I know sweet F all about netball.
Yeah,
but this
But
weekend,
it's starting.
it starts, right?
Guess who I placed my second bet on?
Easy.
Look at Simphiwe. She's getting really into
Beyond the
this.
scoreboard with Simphiwe here.
Next thing you know, she's been on the phone. Yo, give me odds of like 7-1. Otherwise, I'm not interested in placing a bet.
Yeah,
Get on
two
it,
phones in the go here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I can tell you about netball is that Australia and New Zealand are the two best sides in the women's game. Probably because most Afrikaans families emigrated over there and the kids were so bored they played netball. But what I can also tell you is that just this weekend, you will see the entire group play done.
Wow.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all three games.
They don't mess around.
South Africa are in Group C, okay? So they're playing against Wales, Sri Lanka, and Jamaica.
Good.
And Friday, Saturday, so tonight, 6 p.m., SA versus Wales. Wales will probably win the anthem, as they always do. But SA are ranked 5 in the world, Wales 9. I would go with the hometown team here.
Yeah.
Saturday, SA versus Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka on as good, ranked 15th. And then Sunday, SA versus Jamaica. Now, Jamaica are ranked 4th in the world. So if you like netball or if you don't like netball, this is a pretty good weekend for it. 3 matches back-to-back, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And you know what's a cool fun fact with that? Is that it's
Please tell
happening in South Africa.
It is. So local boost to employment, jobs,
I don't know so
street
much.
sales.
I've never heard people go, oh, well, you know, the netball economy is really.
Well, Gareth, there's teams, okay? What are they going to do? Come here and not eat?
Okay.
They're spending money in South Africa. That's all I care about. That's actually what I'm leading with here.
All right.
In economy news, Netball World Cup in Cape Town. Amazing. So obviously there was big tears from the English last week because the Ashes was retained by Australia because the game got watered or basically washed out. So the Ashes 5th and final test of the Oval, all to play for. Pride at stake here. England took that. They got inserted by Australia and bowled out for 283 runs. Not a great state of affairs there. Australia with Usman Khawaja and Marnus Labuschagne. Don't you dare say Labuschagne. Doesn't work. They're at the crease. 61 for 1. Aussies in the pound seats there. And, well, I would like to say finally, Formula 1, Belgian GP, Max Verstappen, Red Bull, hooray. All right, I can't say any more. So obviously the big thing this weekend, UFC 291. We got the Rugby Championships, Go Bokke, the last game before they head out for their World Cup preparations. This is the final send-off for them. Again, get your tickets, go watch them at Ellis Park.
I love it.
And that's your sport for the weekend.
Very, very good. Beyond the Scoreboard with Ben Karpinski. Super Bets bringing you all this information. A lot of people complained that we weren't doing sport anymore, and so we decided to bring it back and bring it back with a vengeance. Even Simphiwe and I are into it now because we're placing bets. Also, by the way, you can go to Beyond the Scoreboard on cliffcentral.com. You get a 50 Rand free bet when you sign up with Super Bets. Click on the banner, right-hand side of the page. You can't go wrong. Super Bets supports responsible gambling, Simphiwe, not irresponsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. Now you know. Someone said there that they're going to tell your gran that you are gambling, and she's going to be very disappointed.
Please don't.
Chris.
Just wait until I win. Then tell her.
Tell them what you're betting on.
No, she
let the judgment happen post bet.
No. I know how to deal with my grand. I need to first win one and be like, hey, here's some money.
Yeah, there we go. Then she'll say, are you gambling again this weekend?
You see?
That's right.
So don't say anything until I've won a bet. It's just between you and me.
So Ben, I saw your blog the other day, and you're busy with these people who you handpicked to improve themselves. How's all that going?
My modern manly group.
There we go.
So I wanted to, I think I mentioned this a few weeks back. I wanted to condense my learnings from the last 3 years and the things that I feel really work for men over 35.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a focus group of 12 men, my 12 disciples of goodness.
Okay.
And we work together on how we're going to go ahead with this. And then I've got a general group where anybody can be on, where they get a Friday newsletter email about interesting things that you should kind of look into.
So let's talk about testosterone for a little bit, because we had Dr. Mark on the show yesterday, and he was talking about shitting regularly. But he always knows quite a lot about the testosterone stuff. You know, he runs the T Health Clinic, and that's important. Where they pay attention to these things. Does some tests, figures out how much you need or how much you don't. Is it true that as you get older, you start to produce less and less testosterone?
Absolutely, unfortunately. And then combined with that are mostly sedentary, unhealthy behaviors make it even worse. So, you know, you'll see often on social media that people will say that 60-year-old men from the 70s have the same amount of testosterone as 20-year-olds now have.
What?
That's crazy.
I think we just got to be very honest about the fact that this whole experiment of men being soft and vulnerable and feminine and all this other kind of nonsense, it's just not actually physically healthy.
It hasn't worked. It's
socially destructive.
It hasn't made women happier, that's for sure.
It definitely has not made women happier. So when your testosterone goes down, you are prone to so many different illnesses. Your life basically shortens. You have less fun. It sucks. Your mood is all over the place. You've got a good chance of getting diabetes, osteoporosis. There are many, many things. Your cardiovascular health can take a knock. So it's not just about not being a butt in the gym or not having muscles. You need these things to actually function as the human you were born as.
Makes sense.
It's simple as that, right?
Makes sense.
So how do you go about getting testosterone is what everyone talks about. Yes, there's various ways you can go to a doctor or a guy in Boxburg and he might help you out. But I always believe you've got to pump the natural way. That's how you sustain things. That's how you can be a lot easier. So firstly, lose weight is the absolute thing. If people are saying, oh, I'm fine like this. You're never fine if you're fat. And I think this is the, again, inconvenient truth, right? Oh, I'm beautiful at all sizes. Yeah, if you like feeders, maybe, but you're not healthy at all sizes. So losing excess weight is the first thing. Exercising regularly, again, like I said, sedentary behavior is a really bad thing for you.
Yeah, because we all sit there and lie there and watch TV and on our phones and eating chips, not doing anything useful.
Absolutely. Chips, not good. No. Having a nutritious diet is also hugely important. So you're not eating just absolute bollocks. You're eating things that don't necessarily have a marketing department or an ingredients label. Eating good whole foods, good solid proteins.
Marketing department.
And then what always comes back to is like, are you getting good sleep? So if you're getting those things, you can naturally boost your testosterone. And there's different ways of obviously really ramping that up as well. So vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, those are really good things to have supplement into your diet.
You've been researching this for a while and looking at ways to improve it in your own life. And you don't believe in like testosterone supplements, because that's probably not going to work.
Look, when you get an older age,
produce it yourself.
Yeah, I would prefer to go that route. Some people just have chronically low levels of this,
and then you need help. That's probably where you get hold of.
And
like
then you might need medical intervention. Again, this is not a subject I can speak about because it's not about. It's not really my wheelhouse or my desire. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you just physically do have to get like help. You know, like just to give an example, when people become dads, their sleep is fucked. Their diet goes out the window. They stop exercising and they're massively stressed. All four of those things will make your testosterone go below your pants.
And will make you
the floor.
Old.
Makes you old.
And unattractive to women.
Unattractive to women. All of these things you do not want. So like when guys become dads, you want to be as strong and capable as possible. And I think we always just forget that testosterone isn't just something like, oh, there's Gareth, he's a high testosterone guy. No, he's just got his life together. It's like you're not a high you're not born like.
No, I thought this was interesting because I read your blog, and this is a very fundamental part of kind of what it is to be a healthy male. And people don't seem to be paying as much attention to this as they should.
No, they're really not. And I think we should just park global warming, the ANC, the potholes.
Because you can't do much about those things.
You can't really do much things, but it adds to the stress, right? So everything that goes down to stress is the kind of the biggest killer of this kind of stuff. So even down to the small things of how you exercise, resistance training to build muscle strength and mobility is great. Killing yourself with cardio, I think that what that's going to do is that's ultimately going to lower your testosterone levels too. So the guy just won the Tour de France. Tell you his testosterone levels probably lower than mine.
You reckon?
He just killed himself for 3 weeks. So all that stress in your body.
Okay, that's interesting because then there's a balancing act to be achieved.
Well, obviously his testosterone levels are still good because he's a professional athlete.
Yeah,
but that kind of exercise, if you want to go out there and murder yourself with cardio, I don't think it's the best thing for you. So the reason I got so into this topic is because I stumbled upon a lot of the stuff by trial and error. And I noticed that I became a happier person with all this training stuff. Okay. So when testosterone levels are higher,
you were a grumpy son of a bitch.
I was surly up and down character. And I'll give myself that admission. But when you have high testosterone levels, it's like obviously your libido really benefits from that.
Everything's better.
Your mood is just genuinely pretty solid.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things you need to look at.
All right. There's some good advice. Solid advice for all the men.
Absolutely talk about more of this kind of stuff. So get good quality proteins in your meals. Get good quality fats.
Yeah, Shani says she's right. Men really become a fat, bitchy old woman when they lose the testosterone.
It's a very,
I
very
got
bad
divorced from one, she says.
Horrible. Avoid those calorie restriction or crash diets as well, because it puts your body under undue stress.
Mm-hmm.
These are all things that you should just be very mindful of.
What are we eating these days, Ben? Meat.
Lots good things. Yeah.
Meat.
Last night I had a friend around, fried him steak.
Oh, nice.
Good chicken.
Yes.
Free range, good meats.
It's expensive, but it's good.
It's expensive, but so is getting testosterone replacement. That's even more expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
All the other side of this kind of stuff is really, really detrimental to you. So yeah, I mean, I'm still sunning my balls in the morning, cold plunge exercise. So obviously, cold plunging is now the new Bitcoin, obviously, and
I know it's all anyone talks about.
I can't have social conversations. I never bring it up, okay? Because but everyone, because it's like people now associate this with me. And if I go to a social event, I will be talking cold plunge, whether I fucking like it or not. But it has been proven that if you get into a plunge and then you warm yourself up with some vigorous exercise, using good compound movements, resistance training, you're going to help your testosterone levels in the sun.
Producer Ryan says a cigar and a podcast. Boom, Ben Tate.
Done.
Look,
and you're not talking about toxic masculinity.
I genuinely think that the world is a better place when men are stronger.
Yeah.
The experiment of all the other kind of bollocks, it was an experiment, right?
Yeah.
It's useless. Mm-hmm. So the word toxic masculinity gets thrown up there, but there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's just dickheads. There were dickheads in 1652.
Yeah, I think so.
There were dickheads last week. There'll be dickheads next week. Don't try to throw that into masculinity. How dare you?
Even Cyril's surprised by this.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
even Cyril's like, that's what I've been missing.
Try not be stressed. Lift weights. Eat good food.
That try not to be stressed. That sounds a lot easier than it is to achieve.
It's a series of life choices, right?
Yeah, but a lot of people have very, very out of control lives. It's their own fault in many cases. And of course, people who blame circumstances are not people who are accountable. But a lot of people have a very hard time coping with stress.
That's great. But work back what stresses you and work back how you make the solves. Okay. Simple as that.
Well, it's usually a couple of things. For most people, it comes from finances.
Yeah.
It comes from personal relationships. It comes from health. And it comes from a meaningful purpose, a career.
Yes.
Something that you wake up to love and to do every day. And if you don't have those four things in check, then you will have stress because you'll be concerned that there's a deficit somewhere.
Exactly.
And worrying about it makes it even worse.
Everyone's got a strategy towards these things, create the actions to underpin it, and suddenly you make momentum.
There we go. Someone says here, Roland says, you left out paddle because that's the new Bitcoin as well. Paddle.
Yeah, side different conversation, I guess. But paddle's still, it's a game. Play it.
I did the get out of bed in winter challenge. That's Hardy Dave's attempt at being brave.
Very good.
Just getting out of bed in winter. That's
Love
good.
it for you.
Well done.
How can there be only 7 likes on this? Yeah, what the hell's going on here, people? We need a whole bunch more likes here. You guys are not doing your job. We do the show, you do the likes, please. Mm-hmm. I can't do everything. All right, get on with it. Mo Rabbit's correct. I think people should just say they cold plunge. When you actually do it, the joke's on you. That's what Ryan says, the producer. What do you make of that, Ben?
I kind of lost him in the middle there.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment or two. Friday morning on cliffcentral.com, and it is Friday morning, and it's not so cold. It's turning a little bit warmer. Things are brightening up. Yeah, it's not so dark at this time. Yeah, just a couple of days ago, it was still dark at like 7.
Winter
let's be grateful for these things. All right, all of it's on your way in just a couple of minutes. We've got plenty to do, including Nik Rabinowitz, who's popping by. It's going to be lots of fun. Friday.
This week on the AutoTrader podcast.
Cruise control doesn't really do well with icy roads. Okay, I mean, there's other things to worry about when you're driving in colder weather. So one thing is your braking is obviously going to be impacted quite substantially, especially when the road gets extremely cold and starts getting icy. So just watch out for your braking then.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Every time you listen to that 80s show, Tom Cruise lives another 10 years. Every Friday on CliffCentral.com, Paolo and Dory review movies, reminisce about old songs, remember childhood places that are now car parks, and say some outrageously rude things about Patrick Swayze's brother. That 80s show, new episode every Friday, live or as a podcast on CliffCentral.com.
All right. We are live Friday morning, cliffcentral.com, and Ben and Simphiwe in the house. We got Nik Rabinowitz joining us in just a short while. George Mienie also on the way. And we've handed out a lot of shame bells this morning. Just
never enough.
Never enough. Well, yesterday I played a clip with Pumi where I showed how Mitch McConnell just kind of froze and had like a stroke. So old.
Sure.
He's 82 years old. Too old to be working in a job like that. Here's Dianne Feinstein, who's the senator. She's 90 years old.
Senator,
She's a senator. She's the senior senator for California. She's 90 years old.
Aren't you supposed to be retired at that age?
I'm gonna listen. You should be under curatorship if you're as crazy as she is. So all she has to do in this clip is say aye or nay. She's voting for or against something. Okay. All she has to do. So listen to how her handlers keep saying to just say aye. Just say aye. That means yes. Just say yes. That's all they wanted to say. But she goes off on a tangent because she's senile. Yeah, look at this.
Pardon me. Aye. Yeah. Pardon me. Aye. Yeah. I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted. Yeah, just say aye. Okay, just aye.
Thank you. Senator.
90 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Now,
but you know, people are going to go, so she's 90. Hey, that's just her. Like, no, get out.
you're always going to get those people who go, but my gran is 90. She's great. That's not proving.
She's great, but she's not. She has no function in society anymore.
She must go home.
Just
enjoy your retirement money.
Right,
enjoy. Be with the grandkids.
Right.
Just spoil other people. Leave decision making to the young ones. You're not going to be around.
Thank you.
No, like we honestly need like an age limit in parliament, government. Like
So I think like we have you can't be president of the United States until you're 40. That's a rule.
Actual rule.
I think it's 35 or 40, but certainly not under 35, right? So they have a lower age limit.
Is that because they just needed more guys to go to war back in the day?
I don't know where it comes from, but it's not a bad idea
No,
because you need a little bit of life experience. And, even though there are some 25-year-olds who are very impressive, there are also some 90-year-olds who are very impressive. I think you need a lower and an upper age limit for a lot of jobs. Let's just put it that way. Certainly, I think that if you are beyond the average longevity for the population of the country you're in, it's time for you to have a break. Just have a break.
The thing about political parties is that it should be in touch with the society they're in charge of, right? So what better way to show that than having people who are the most competent and capable?
You would think so, but I think that this proves, just like, Joe Biden's also demented and Mitch McConnell we saw have a stroke yesterday, and this Dianne Feinstein. These people must realize that they have to eventually give up and relinquish power. It's obviously very hard. They say power corrupts, absolutely. But I think these people really struggle with just saying, all right, I'm done. Once you've had power, it seems like it's a very, very difficult thing to let go of.
Yeah. Well, it just shows how little they have in actual life. This defines them to the point that they cannot be anything but this.
I think it's very sad.
That really is a damning kind of confirmation of how useless these people are.
Now, while we're in the US in the various houses that make these decisions, you watched the aliens' testimony. There was a retired major who's bringing his testimony to Congress, talking about these aliens they recovered, spacecraft, and all the rest. I said to Simphiwe, the two creatures that live in my head, the one really wants aliens to be true and believes it and thinks that the government's hiding stuff from us, all governments. And the other one says this is absolute nonsense. It's a distraction and it does not exist. We don't have any proof. And if aliens were so clever to get all this way, why would they crash in the Nevada desert?
Yeah.
Which one is it, Ben? Which side are you on?
So growing up, we obviously watched sci-fi movies, and there was always this thing, and we were always fascinated by the unknown. So as humans, we'll gravitate to loving aliens and the idea of aliens.
Yeah.
But governments are shit. And these things get vaulted up when they need to make a distraction.
So you reckon it's a distraction?
Absolutely. But I've also always had a kind of theory, which I actually heard again recently on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's like, what are aliens? Are they completely extraterrestrial, separate beings? Or are they just future humans who are time traveling back?
Oh, I hope it's the second one.
Because you think about it, right? Everywhere that we're going, these big googly, all aliens are kind of drawn the same. Like Jesus is a white man with a beard. Aliens all look the same, apparently. And like all these visuals going around. If you look at how we're becoming more and more sedentary and more like useless and
bigger heads,
the eyes to
smaller
consume.
Mouths.
Exactly, because we're eating this GMO bullshit food or whatever, eating through straws. We've all lost skin color. We've just become beige. And like really insipid looking. Maybe that's it. Aliens are actually humans in the year 7000, and they've just developed.
Maybe that's it.
And some of the smart ones have just developed time machines. Like billionaires go to space and rockets. Yeah. Maybe billionaires in future have developed time machines. That's the Titanic spaceship, basically.
Oh, I hope so.
Go on a time machine.
That would be so great.
And they crash here because it's still in the beta phase of time machining. And that's maybe what aliens are.
That would be a much better explanation.
Because why else would they come here? It's because they came here, and obviously we obviously fucked this thing up.
Yeah,
this whole Earth.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also,
so they want to come back and see when we screwed it up,
and then they want to come back and they go, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Maybe they look at this as like a golden era in human.
They keep coming back and they go, "Look at those people. They didn't have poo all over them." Or look at them. They have nails.
They can actually pick up a cup.
The reason that thing allegedly crashed is that they got to pick the video of that woman with the nails, and they couldn't believe how she wiped her bottom either.
Or the pronoun woman. Oh my God. Yeah. Look, if it's true that they could time travel back to us and that's why they're crashing, and I mean that's a much more sensible explanation if you ask me. I also hope that's more true than the complete aliens coming from another galaxy.
Because complete aliens would want to attack us. No. That's the nature of beings.
No. That's such a bad plan. You need to know your enemies. You need to study them.
Oh, Simphiwe, do you not seen how all living things attack each other?
No, but you first need to
Forever.
know them. You need to first,
All living things attack each other.
Yeah, but
Go
like,
anywhere. Living things attack each other. So
sure, but if you want to win the war, you prep for it. You first find out, what's going on. And I think that's what they're doing. If they had to attack us, they would first know, what are our weaknesses? What are we good at? What are we bad at? And then boom, shaka boom, before you know it, there's an invasion.
okay, so you kind of agree with me about them attacking you, so that you've got reconnaissance missions happening before my all-out violence.
Yes.
Okay, no, fair. Makes sense.
KNA says aliens could also just be a DNA strand. You've all been told what to think. Yeah, KNA, we've been told what to think.
Okay.
I mean, here we are actually openly philosophizing about the stuff, but we've been told what to think.
So I saw a map of like reported alien.
Yes, I put it
thingies,
up
right?
just now.
Okay.
Almost all in America.
So is that because they like melted cheese, or do they just like populations? Like, what do they got against Africa? Is it because
I'm
it's too
glad.
rural?
No. I'm glad that they're not doing anything in Africa. I'm very glad.
What if they all thought Grahamstown, Makanda was the greatest thing ever?
Imagine if
What
they
if
all started
all
coming
went
here.
there. It'd be great for tourism, just like netball is for Cape Town.
Imagine if they're because there are places in America that you are more likely to spot this kind of thing. Well, that's what they say anyway in the tourist brochures. So people who are alien hunters, like you get people who are hurricane hunters or people who are looking for Bigfoot or whatever. There's certain places where you're meant to go where it's more likely that you
alien
find
hunters. That just sound like stoners who are up at night staring at stars.
No, it sounds like a new show on History Channel.
What-
Alien hunters.
You hunt something because you kind of know where it is. Otherwise, you're not hunting. You just
Hoping.
yeah,
Just hoping.
alien hopers.
Rebellious Ruth says you've got a very plausible theory, and she's the chairman of the comments section. So
Thanks,
there we go,
Rebellious
Ben.
Ruth.
That wins.
Take that in my stride today.
Look at them. They're not covered in semen, says Sanela. You
Yeah.
said poo, but that could also be
The old semen covering of the year 3027 really changed humankind forever.
So Sasha says they went to rural Zim in 94 to communicate with school children. You see, again, if these aliens are so advanced, whatever they are, aliens, time traveling humans from the future, whatever, why do they talk to like farmers in the Midwest in America and probe their assholes? That's all they ever do. Have you noticed that?
They have a sense of humor.
But why would they do that? What's that going to do? Like, what is
Do humans
probing?
do humans
someone?
in future lose their assholes?
Maybe,
See ya.
maybe they close up.
They come back and go, "Fuck, remember the days when we had assholes?"
That's what they're interested in.
It's like rhino horn for these fuckers in the future. Just getting in an arsehole, looking at it.
I like the way
function.
I like the way on the trot you've come up with a good theory for why they would probe assholes. But they do. They always land in some field. This is what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
They never come down in like Times Square on a
Nah.
Saturday.
Too many people. They're
Yeah,
shy.
too busy.
It's too busy. They want to go someplace where there's a, hey, Martha, you see that funny light out there? Oh, I don't see no funny light. What you talking about? I'm going to go to sleep. Well, I'm going to go outside with the flashlight and take a look. And then they probe his asshole.
But they probably probe the assholes of people who aren't believable. So like that guy, the hick guy out in the middle of nowhere, if he says, oh, the aliens probe my ass, they'll be like, yeah, stay off the moonshine, buddy. If they go to a place like this, get into a university with cameras and things and probe arseholes, it'll be like, Exhibit A, arsehole probed. Done deal.
I just think there's something, so that map proves there's something weird going on there. It's all in America.
They don't like Asians either.
Don't like Asians, don't like South Americans,
Hmm.
just like Americans and parts of Europe. That's
Love it.
really it.
Love it.
So, yeah, we don't mind.
I'm not complaining.
No,
Go
we don't-
ahead,
we
live
don't
your
mind.
best life over there.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the ones who crash are drunk. Silenificent says those are the drunk aliens who always crash. The smart ones avoid the dumb humans.
I still think it's early phases, just like our rockets and just like our deep sea plunging
All right,
vessels.
so that's enough nonsense for one morning.
Mhm.
Ben, is there anything else you want to throw in before you say your goodbyes?
Fun fact, world record for pull-ups. Any guesses? Because
I
today,
can't do a lot, but let me guess.
today my newsletter is about pull-ups and my to do them.
How many would you say? I would say that there's probably someone out there who could do
One man, consecutive.
150.
Superior?
Given the time span, humans can do a lot. So I'll do like
Okay, let me give you
200.
let me give you a reference. My record is 17.
Yeah. I'm saying 150, and this guy is just an absolute machine.
8,008.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
Without
What?
stopping.
8,008 is the
That
world record.
How long did it
is
take him?
unbelievable.
I don't know the time, but I know 8,000.
Wow.
There's a man who can do that. So what can you do?
Yeah, I feel like a complete failure. Thank you, Ben, for
Okay, bye, Ben.
introducing us. Yeah. Get out of here. I don't want to be pulled down anymore. Pull
Sure.
up. Pull us up, Ben. Don't pull us down.
Well,
8,000.
That was the intention.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
8,008.
8,008.
Will
The 8 is
most
important because, I mean, people would usually stop at 8,000, but this guy did 8 more just in case.
Yeah.
Who
someone
is
was
this
hiding.
person?
His last name is Italiano.
Italiano.
He's a real person. He's
Okay.
an Australian guy.
Okay. Amazing. That's
Everybody.
phenomenal.
Bye.
Cheers, Ben. Have a happy weekend. There's some useful information from Ben Kopinski to wrap up your Friday morning.
What have I done with my life? Damn.
I know. I promise you, I can't do 8, let alone the 8,000 that come before it. So everybody's very excited because this man, whenever he comes to town, brings with him hilarity and lots of fun. He is called Nik Rabinowitz by his friends. He's a comedian, actor, and author. And he's got a new show called Rambunctious, which is on at the Theatre on the Square in Sandton, 25 July to 5 August. Get your tickets. It's already on. And if you want to make it before the end of the run, you've got to hurry up. These things are selling like hotcakes. How are you, Nik Rabinowitz? How are you?
I am actually very well.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to see you.
I love your new place.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you think of the Colombian drug lord look?
It's
good.
I definitely felt like I was somewhere in South America walking in here.
It does feel like
Yeah.
that. Right.
Yeah.
So-
Or Mozambique.
So how often are you in Joburg? Because you're very much Cape Tonian. And we don't think of you as a Joburg guy.
I know. I used to, when I was up here for radio, I used to get confused.
Yeah, you used to come
regularly.
up and do Reedy Tlabby's show, right?
Yeah. In
Yeah,
fact,
you
the Jewish Report still think I'm a Joburger.
Oh.
This week they asked me, what's your fondest memory from King David?
Sure.
But that's a standard. They've got a standard question.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And how long did you work at Investec?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what
Did you
they
know
do.
that?
Yeah, that's what they
Investec is actually started as a halfway house
do for
young-
Jews after
young
bar
Jews.
mitzvah, before marriage.
It's basically to ease the difficult transition between the years of private Jewish education and the real world.
All right, so what's the new show about? Because this is hard work to come up with new stuff.
Man,
it's difficult
really,
to be you.
It's sometimes quite traumatic. I mean, it's 6 months is quite a turnaround, but this show is about various things. I had some stuff about my mom in the last show, and we went to therapy. Actually, we ended up in couples therapy with Skalk Poseidon. So I'll talk about that. The comedian. It was an unusual.
Yeah, he's
place.
not. Skalk Poseidon is not his mother. Let's just clear this up.
So some things happened there. I talk about ISIS actually in this show.
That's a very light, fluffy topic.
Yeah, the last time I
ISIS.
was here, they wanted to bomb the Pride Parade and my show.
That's right. Why did they hate you again?
I speculate about that in the show. Actually, I have various theories.
I do think in South Africa that we have a watered down and not particularly good version.
No.
The really good jihadists are in like Kenya and Tanzania, even
Yeah.
northern Mozambique at the moment. The good ones.
Exactly.
They need to deploy their best. They're not sending their best, as Donald Trump said.
No, they're
to
not.
us. Yeah.
No, definitely. They really messed
But
that
I'm glad
up.
that they're not after you anymore. You can travel freely now. You don't need to have Mossad watching you.
Well, that's I hope they are still watching me.
They probably are.
I'm not saying they called me, but I think they might have called me.
Hello, Mr. Rabinovitz. We are behind you. Don't worry.
No, I actually got a call from like an Israeli counterterrorism
Really?
guy. Yeah,
Really,
He was
really?
Like, I believe you got some
Problem.
Yes, what? Let me give you some advices, and then he did.
Advices.
Yeah. So you have a routine. I was like, I used to have a routine, but it was new material. It's going to be a different routine from the one you last saw. Well, if you have a routine, break it. If you what you do when you wake up in the morning? I was like, normally take a cold shower, like a Wim Hof thing, because it's good. You know, it's like for the inflammation, and also I do the breathing. He's like, what are you talking? I was like, no, well, that's when you take your coffee. I was like, after the shower, take it before, swap it. Mix it up.
Be unpredictable.
Yes, that's
Right.
exactly what you say. You go out the house, wear a hat, sunglass. You leave from the front door, take the back.
There's no shortage of material though, huh?
No, you don't even have to write it yourself.
You sit there and I'm sure when you're putting a show together, you have to think about like what am I going to talk about here, because you stuff has to be fresh, and you're always reinventing and rewriting and improving and crafting and all that stuff, because you're a proper comedian, right? And it's not, people think you just get up on stage and you make it look so easy because you're conversational and you're fun like you are now. There's no difference. There's no difference in tempo. There's no difference in performance. There's no difference in delivery. Like, it seems very natural for you, but I'm pretty sure that, like a duck, the feet are paddling crazily under the water. When you're on stage, do you ever hit like a blank, like Mitch McConnell did yesterday, where you just froze and you have like a mini stroke and you kind of like, oh shit, where was I? Has that ever happened to you?
No, but I think that might be coming. That might be in my future.
Yeah,
Which
but
is terrifying.
when you're very old,
Yeah.
that's in all of our futures when we're very, very old. But for now, it's never happened to you. You've never,
I mean, it's sometimes
got stuck and thought, where the hell am I in this thing?
What often happens is actually if in an audience somebody gets up or you're in the middle of something and then it disrupts that rhythm, or you just improv. You're in an improv situation where you're talking to somebody and then it's like,
have you ever reprimanded someone for filming something, or their phone goes off for the 7th time, or because that kind of stuff really annoys me. I mean, it's the basis of terrific comedy too.
Yes,
but I think for a lot of people, they're so wrapped up in their own world that when they go into a theater to watch you, they forget to put their phone on silent, and then when it rings, they sorry.
Oh, and then
No,
they
that's
stand
all the
up
time.
and they're like,
what do you
Last
do?
night I had a woman, actually, she started WhatsApping, but she was in the front row. She was literally right in front of me in spitting distance.
Unacceptable.
And I was like, well, you see, the problem is if it riles you up, then it's a problem. I normally am interested, like, who are you sending that message to?
So
and
you
she
start
said,
asking her.
she said, oh, it's work. I'm like, well, I'm working as well, so I'm not on my phone. Who are you? And she was like, it's my boss.
You know, it'd be.
And then she goes, she's over there.
So she was also there.
It was 2 people away.
You know, they're probably messaging each other. Yeah, Nick's really funny, hey?
Yeah.
This is a great chat. I'm glad we came. Aren't you glad we came?
What was he just talking about? I don't know. I was WhatsApping you.
Maybe what you should do is just take out your phone on stage and just start texting someone while you're busy doing your. Just hold on, guys. Just go. Oh, it's my wife. Let me just do this.
I do have some things that I have to look at. Like I regularly read out a letter from a prude during my show. A woman who sent me an email.
It's a real letter.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some?
Oh, absolutely. I love nothing more than the complaints section.
It's often when there's somebody who's come with their parents, like what happened last night, and I talk about that, but I understood it recently because Skalk Poseidon had invited us to his show, my mom and me. He's got a podcast called Your Mom.
Yes.
With Skalk, and he had my mom on, and then she just thought it was a therapy session. So she just opened up about how
God, did she talk about all her problems?
Traumatized.
you've been to her
because of what I've said in shows.
Oh no.
Like the last show.
I don't want her to do that.
Her trauma therapist came to my last show and was horrified that I'd spoken about her home burglary in my show. But I was literally just trying to illustrate. I was talking about my conspiracy theory about her home burglary during lockdown level 5. I thought she'd hired crisis actors to stage the whole thing as an excuse to move in with her grandchildren. And she didn't like the fact that I'd said that. So then she just shared all of these things. And Skalk ended up inviting us to his show. And
but you should have said no, because clearly your mother's a chocolate fireplace. You shouldn't.
I should have said no. She actually at one point, and I don't want to give this away, but you're not going to come to my show anyway, so I'll just. So at one point in the show, Skalk talks about a cuddle puddle that he went to in Nice, and I don't want to get into the details.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah,
I think he shared this with us when he was on last time.
He might have, and
it
then
sounded pretty wild.
He didn't want to because he was going to end up licking his friend Brad's pawpaw, and then my mom turned to me and said audibly, so that 3 rows back and front could hear, "Have you ever tried that?"
Oh my God. No, man. Your mother doesn't have boundaries.
Yeah, she has some interesting.
The psychologist will tell her if the therapist's worth anything, she needs boundaries.
Yeah,
she must. You must embarrass her. That's appropriate.
Well, fortunate. That's
it's not
appropriate
appropriate
for me
her to embarrass you,
because there's never a shortage of content. I promised her.
So let's hear about this complaint.
This complaint is a woman who brought her 18-year-old daughter to see me at the Baxter and then said, I can handle the odd swear word if it's not blessed. It wasn't a voice note, but I'm assuming that's how she talks. But these days, it's way more than the odd word with you, Nik. And also, this is a very fervent plea for you to seriously consider the sexual innuendo aspect of your material. I was squirming with embarrassment in my seat next to my door. And my humble opinion is you're doing yourself a disservice by bringing your humor down to that level.
Oh,
yeah.
Ma'am.
So is it just me or does this woman want to have sex with me?
Oh,
Sounds to me like she wants to get on the Mayflower and go off to a new land and establish Puritan rules there. I do find it fascinating, and you must have found this interesting too. And Simphiwe, you and I have talked about this a lot, but those people during lockdown who felt they needed to reprimand other citizens, we all had equal amounts of nonsense going on.
Yes.
But there were those people who felt that they could take the opportunity to reprimand their neighbors and their family members and their friends and, nephews and nieces. And those people have made themselves very evident since then. They've decided that was quite a lacquer feeling.
Oh, right.
And they want to keep doing it,
Yes. I remember my first experience of that was walking my dog when we were level 4, whatever, we were allowed on the pavement, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I went
on the
around,
pavement.
there was a guy running around the park without a mask, and this woman, just an elderly woman, just looked at him and shouted, "You're a murderer!"
Aibo.
Yeah.
Aibo.
So this woman who wrote this, I mean, she took the time
Yes.
to actually email. This is quite a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Normally
yeah.
after a show, people can't even remember what was said. They go, "Oh, it was such a great show. I don't know what you talked about, but I laughed and laughed and laughed." This woman remembered enough to actually compose the email, and she thought, Nik needs this feedback.
Yes.
He's fallen off the rails. He's definitely not the Nik I started to like many years ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to put him in his place.
No, people regularly feel the need to say, no, we saw your show in Santon and it would have been much better if it was cleaner and you talked about...
Not so much blue language.
Yeah.
Blue.
That
used to be
that's a great term.
In the 60s and 70s, there were certain comedians who they didn't go blue, They were very proud of themselves for not using foul language and no blasphemy and no dirty jokes. It was all very clean. It was like, and then she fell.
Yes. I remember a guy called Selwyn asking me to come do shows in his house, and he used to say, "Go as blue as you like."
I can only imagine Selwyn.
And I was like, really?
Selwyn must
He's
have
like,
been great.
yeah.
Was
And
it
I
just
walked
for
in.
him and like a couple of friends?
Well, I didn't know. It was like, it's in a secret chamber. And then we
How's it,
He's
Nik?
Guys, blue as you. And I remember walking in and there were just like 7 people at a dinner table.
Sure.
And I had to do, and F.W. de Klerk was in the front
Oh, Jesus.
of the thing. Yeah. And then he heckled me halfway. It was
FW
a friendly
did?
heckle.
What? That's not funny, Nik.
No, I said something like,
I ended apartheid. Don't joke about this.
Mr. Mandela is free to go. We're giving Mr. Mandela a microwave and a toast and a blue Mercedes.
What did he say?
He said,
"I got reprimanded by a former president." That's hilarious.
I got it. No, it wasn't a reprimand. It was just I had a bit about 50-50. Remember the veldfocus op 50-50.
Los hy program uit.
And it was Professor Christo Pina.
Yeah.
He used to say, the rhinoceros is die grootste en sterkste dier in die bos en sy vel is so styf voor sy lyk getrek as hy oë en sy poep gelyk te maak kom sy voeltjie uit.
What did you just say?
The rhinoceros are the strongest element in the bush and the skin is so tightly covered over the entire body. If the eyes and the poop hole was closing by the same time, the birdie was coming out to sing. Tweet, tweet. And he put up his hand. We didn't put up his hand. He just said, Christo Pina was my high school teacher.
Oh, he thought it was necessary to fill that in.
Yeah.
Shame. Well, I mean, Ava Shalom. Anyway,
Ava Shalom, exactly.
So you obviously do a lot of these impersonations too, and people must come up to you and go, do the Desmond Tutu.
Yes.
They think that you're a toy that they can switch on and they press a button and you go, very good for Madiba or whatever. You do your. But now poor old Desmond's no longer.
Yes.
We had to say goodbye to him not so long ago, and it was a great loss. Madiba's gone, and people used to do his accent a lot. I don't hear much of that anymore.
I actually did his accent the other night.
Oh,
for my
a
7-year-old.
revival.
A 7-year-old. She's got a book called Mr. Mandela and the Hair, and I thought it was a safe place for me to do a pro Nelson Mandela.
Did you look around first?
Nelson Mandela. I did. I looked around, and then Mr. Mandela talks to the hair. Because the hair found a 200 Rand note with Mr. Mandela's face and thought it belonged to him, so he returned the hair. And then Mr. Mandela said, I thought it was, and she didn't like it.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
she was like, "You cancelled that."
Yes, because these toddlers and infants, they are increasingly on the cancel train.
But yes, people want do your tutu.
So who are we expected to be able to impersonate now? Who are the it people of the moment? Because it's become so disintermediated that I mean, you could do, celebrities, but who do you choose? Because who's really a celebrity anymore? It's all very, very muddy out there.
Yeah. I used to play you, I think, on ZA News.
I think you did some of those.
I
think you
it was
did them
tricky
very well
to play you. But
I don't know that. I don't know that I've got like Madiba and Desmond too. They had these kind of these characteristics that you could zone in on.
Yeah.
And you're a consummate impersonator. And these guys on the internet, I see these guys on Instagram, for example, the two American dudes who can do everybody.
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump, they do beautifully. They do they could do Barack Obama. They can do all these politicians, Boris Johnson. These are easy people to do because they have almost caricature voices. And you pick up on one or two things and you can make it work. You do this very, very well. Are there any accents that you've just always wanted to do but you cannot get down?
Many. I mean, I found I could only really sort of handle a few. And I mean, Trump is Riyad Musa does a great Donald. But I increasingly sort of steer away from that because
you get into trouble now because
I want to do it well, and
but you also get into trouble because if you do an accent and it's a general sort of accent, people immediately go, "Oh, well, you're mocking that whole group of people."
Yeah.
It used to be okay, for example, for us to make fun of a South African accent if it was like an Indian guy from Durban or an Afrikaans guy from the Karoo, but you can't do that anymore. People get very touchy.
Yeah.
Comedy's become almost a little bit more.
I actually do an
sensitive.
impression of the U.S. customs agent that I got interrogated by a few months ago.
Go on.
At JFK.
They're always very surly. They never smile.
But this one threw me off guard.
I got to say, in defense of South Africa, because we take a lot of heat and we've been called a shithole country and all kinds of things. But when you come back to South Africa and you go through customs, very seldom do you end up with someone who's just stone cold and miserable.
No.
They go, "How are you?" And you go,
Yes,
"How are you?"
yes.
And everybody's happy. And you're really thrilled to be back home.
Yeah.
Never in America. You walk through JFK, there's not one of those people. I think it's in the brief. You are not allowed to be human.
Yeah.
You must be as cold as ice.
Well, this guy, I mean, this really threw me off guard because his first words to me were, "Where are you from?" And I was like, this guy sounds Eastern European.
Yeah. Sure.
And I wanted to be like,
You're like, where are you from?
And he was like, "What are you doing in the United States of America?"
Sounds like Borat.
And then I was early. It's like 5 o'clock. You jet lagged. You say the wrong thing. You're on a visitor's visa. You forget. You say you had to do comedy, and then it was like, "Can you prove you are a comedian? Do you have documents?" I didn't have the documents. Then
you need documents to prove you're a
I had
comedian.
to prove I wasn't being paid there, and I was and.
But hang on, what?
Wait, what document is this?
So I've never thought about this, but if I need to travel overseas, sometimes they ask you for proof of where you work, and your bank accounts and things. But I can say this is my company, and we've got company bank statements, and I can show I'm a director.
Yes.
How do you prove you're a comedian?
Well, I couldn't in that moment. I was like, okay, this is risky, but I'm going to try it. I was like, I can prove if you can rustle up 5 other TSA officials, I'll. And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I don't do shows for less than 5 people, so." But the jokes don't work that. And he's like, "Okay, step this way." And that was when I was really shouting. And he step this way when you hear that. But luckily, and this is what we call Simphiwe the hand of Hashem, two South Africans walked behind me literally at that moment and said, "Oh my God, Nik Rabinowitz, we love your shows."
Oh, that was
And
a saving
then
grace.
that turned
Thank
him.
Jesus.
And he was like, "Okay, so where you do this comedy?" And I was like, "Okay, it's I knew the address. I was like, it's East 82nd Street, the Moishi Safra, the Jewish Center. When? I was like, it's Wednesday. He's like, "What time?" It's like 8 o'clock. And then he goes, "I can't come. I've got late shift."
Oh,
What a
You
guy.
have YouTube?
What a guy. This is amazing.
Yeah.
You made a friend.
I did. Unexpectedly. But you're right. When you come back here and you hit the tarmac at Alright somewhere and you see that first person and
I
they
love
just
it.
make you feel
I
the
love it, dude.
Ubuntu. It's beautiful.
I honestly can't fault that feeling. People always they look at me a little bit askance when I say that my favorite thing about any trip is coming back home. But it really is. It's like the best thing ever. First of all, I always come back with like gifts for the family. So I can't wait to give those to them. And then when you give them to them, it's always like a disappointment. You imagine they're going to be like blown away by these
like, just
tsatskas. And they're like, it's nonsense, like an ashtray or something. But the smiles you get and the feeling you get when you're home is just different to anything
and
else.
the jokes. Like I had a woman look at me, recognize me from somewhere, and tell me she scanned my passport. She looked at the computer and then she looked back to me and she said, "We've got a problem. You've got 16,000 rands in traffic fines."
Ooh.
And then I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I'm just messing with you." How am I gonna know that?
All right. So when you do Joburg, do you change anything from Cape Town?
Yeah, I mean, actually, this show, I've never actually brought a show here that I haven't tested in Cape Town. So this is the first time I'm doing that.
So we get the first bite of the cherry.
Yeah, and
Very
so the first run of a show, at least the first week, is kind of what works, and I tested some stuff in Cape Town, but people look at me a bit funny with some of the stuff. Yeah,
has it changed? Have you had to? Obviously, comedy changes, evolves. You evolve, you change. The kind of stuff that you might have done 10 years ago is probably not the stuff you'd be proud to do now.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was the funniest shit ever to all of us.
Exactly.
But we wouldn't maybe laugh as hard as we will about your new stuff.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean, I don't want you to break it down and take all the fun out of it. But you're a serious thinker too. You don't do stupid comedy. Certainly not when I've seen you. It's been stuff that your audience kind of need to know a little bit about what's going on. You certainly know a lot about what's going on. Do you do a deep dive analysis of this stuff, or do you not get caught up in that too much? Are you just trying to have fun and let it flow?
I think it's a balance between I want to obviously have fun and people to have fun, but also I want there to be a little bit more substance to the thing. And also, I think for a long time, about a few months ago, someone saw something I'd done and then commented, "But where the load shedding jokes?"
No.
And I'm like, how do we, there are topics like that. We're like, is it funny anymore? Like,
yeah, you're just sick of it. It's like a lot of the political stuff. I think people are just tired of it.
The political, even the people I was at 702 and I was with a presenter and they weren't even listening to the person they were talking to that was phoning in. And I was like, oh, we're all so tired of it. And then suddenly I was like, oh, that's the angle. I was actually sitting in a hotel in New York. I was like, that's the angle on load shedding. It's that I actually right now have load shedding withdrawal symptoms, and I need
too much electricity.
Yeah, you don't know what to do with
I need to put the notifications
electricity.
of Eskom push back on so I can get the dopamine hit of 55 minutes till load shedding.
That happens to me. It was on last night. I was just falling asleep, and my phone goes bing, and I go, "Oh, I hope this isn't a message," because I was just about to fall asleep. I suppose there's a lesson in like putting your phone further away. But anyway, I look at it and it's like 55 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, oh, God.
Phone up the concierge. Do you mind switching off my power for the next 2 to 3 hours? I'm feeling overwhelmed.
You almost leave lights on just to see if they'll stay on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's actually a bit more scary when they do stay on, because you're like, wait, it didn't go. Does this mean it's gonna leave?
Oh no, then you get paranoid because now you think that tormenting you.
Yeah.
The unknown. And now you think, well, if they've left it on, but they said it was going to be off, maybe they're going to punish me with like 8 hours when I least expect it.
We got Stockholm syndrome.
We do. It's a serious problem. So you've been all over the world recently. I mean, you often do your comedy overseas, and you've been to, you just said New York, but where else?
I did. Well, actually, the King David Schools Foundation sent me as an emissary, as a
to like for Jews over there? Or?
Yeah, to get the hard forex out of their alumni.
Oh.
Did you take a suitcase of money?
Yeah, pretty metaphorically. I mean, yes.
Because there are a lot of South Africans and South African Jews all over the world, but there are lots of people who know you, who are living in these places, and will fill up a theater easily for you. Yeah,
in fact, I'd like to do more of it.
I mean, London, for example, must be an absolute walk in the park for you. You just go over there. If people find out Nik Rabinowitz is coming, they'll fill it up.
Yeah, I'm coming to London.
Nice.
Well, so we've done the US and Canada.
Nice.
In fact, Canada was interesting. Went through Canadian customs with
because you've done that Montreal festival.
I haven't done that.
You haven't.
But I discovered a thing about Joburg Jewish moms, and you should follow them when you're going through customs.
Okay.
Because firstly, they sort of draw the attention. They can say things you can't say.
Is this the only queue?
Yes. And they make the best mules, the best drug mules, because people don't take them seriously. The woman in front of me who I was with, she organized the tour. They said, "What are you doing in Canada, ma'am?" And she was like, "I'm here to sell drugs and steal your babies." And they had the same response as you.
I'll come through. You can't take them seriously. It's like I've always said, if you just got rid of these security vans, these coin, what do they call them?
Yeah.
These, with the cash and transit.
Yes.
Those things are an obvious moving target. People look at them and they go, "There's cash in there." You should give it to old grannies in Unos. No one would ever.
There are movies made about that.
Yes, I'm telling you. It's not complicated.
I don't know what was the question again? Oh, yes. So
these mothers that you get behind in the queue, they have the chutzpah to ask for things that you wouldn't dream of asking for.
Yeah.
Like, is there someone I can pay to get this thing stamped?
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't, and you would never, you'd be like, "Oh God, they'll arrest me or whatever." But somehow they get to the front of the queue and they get things done quickly and they get their kids through and all that kind of stuff. And you can, if you're just in their wake, you can actually move along with them.
Like, I'm with her.
I remember there was in lockdown, there was an illicit alcohol salesperson that used to come to my next door neighbor. And it was, middle-aged woman and brazen. She'd be on the phone going, "No, I gave you a whiskey. The brandy is not yours. It's another customer's. I can hook you up with a case of premium grade
Love it.
Chardonnay."
Listen, those are some effective people.
Yeah.
I think those are the people, if they were in charge of government, we'd have a lot of really unnecessary rules and it would be annoying as hell.
Yes.
But shit would happen.
It would.
I'll tell you what, the roads would be immaculate.
Yeah.
Everything would run like clockwork. School timetables would be aligned. Robots would work in sync.
Yes.
Everything would happen.
Yes.
Those women, I mean, they juggle a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And I know exactly the kind of mom you're talking about. It is a spectacular collection of talent in a single person. And the ability to multitask is just unparalleled.
Phenomenal.
Oh, man. And we need to elect people like that. In fact, when I see posters of someone who I think might be a bit like that.
We need Jewish moms to run
Jewish
for
moms, I tell you what, things would work.
president.
Yeah, and it's often the fundraisers as well. It's the Glenn Wallmans, it's the Raylene Tradonskis.
They raise the funds.
Oh, yep.
They get shit done.
Raylene, actually, that's how I ended up doing this the show overseas.
You weren't making up these names. These are actual people.
Well, I should make. I haven't. Yeah.
Oh, man.
The chutzpah.
It's called Jewish Mom DRS, says Rebellious Ruth, who herself is Jewish.
Yes, Rebellious Ruth, I'm actually related to.
Are you?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Look
How?
at that.
Yeah, no, because
She's the chairperson of the comment section.
she's a Rom, and I'm my mom was a Rom from the Romanovs.
That's right.
Russian Jews.
They shortened it to Rom.
Yep, they shortened it to Rom. Actually, on the other side, my uncle shortened our name in Kenya. He went to Kenya and shortened it from Rabinovitz to Rab to get into the Muthaiga Club in Nairobi, so they wouldn't know he was Jewish.
Wow.
But the problem, he actually wanted to go to the US. Abraham Rabinovitz was his name, and then he shortened it. But you try getting into the US Simphiwe with Arab in your passport. That's
That's not okay.
the lamest
Not
joke
with-
you'll hear this morning, but my personal favorite.
But that's true. So Rebellious Ruth also says, because she's marketing you here, she goes, "He's at the theater on the square for the next week. Must go watch."
Yes, you must.
See, she's
Rebellious
busy.
Ruth.
It's very good. I like that a lot. Okay, so you're in Joburg for another couple of days. What do you do when you're here? Because you do your shows in the evening. Are you rehearsing? Are you having lunches? Are you meeting up with people? Like, do you have a life besides being
not
on the
much
stage?
of a life? I have been working on the show quite a bit, and then I'm away from my kids, so I have time to think
and read
about
some
things, read some things.
Do you have comedy friends
I have
that you are
I have a couple
required
of
to
comedy
visit?
friends. I had yes, I'm.
You're required to visit.
I'm obviously it's Joburg, so you are required to do cultural things as well, like
Okay.
play paddle.
Are you going to do that?
Maybe. I
'Cause
asked
you-
Danny Kaye if he wanted to play paddle. with
Oh,
me.
wow.
Yeah, he said I don't play paddle, but would you like to come for Shabbos? And I said
That's tonight.
awesome. And he said great. And I said hundreds. And he said power. And I said sweet. But
Have
then
you seen
I
that
said I've got a show.
hilarious thing that? Oh my God! You know what? There's some bloody funny stuff that's going on. Glenn Biederman Pam does this thing where he has like two Joburg guys who come down to Cape Town to play
Yes.
paddle, and then they're two Capetonians. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's on social media. It's the funniest thing ever. And these two Joburg people are the most irritating Joburg people you could imagine. And I suddenly, for the first time ever, I saw the way Capetonians see us.
Oh, right.
And I was embarrassed. I really hope when I go to Cape Town and I behave like this.
Yes.
Because Capetonians are kind of gentler souls. They're a lot more sort of sensitive.
We inhabit this liminal space between the mountain and the sea. That's why we don't get shit done.
Yeah, it's like that stuff that Rob does, where he's the Shua
kombucha,
anal bidet stuff, whatever it is, and putting stuff in your eyes or whatever. That's the character of a Capetonian in extreme, and the character of a Joburg person is just this really annoying, really grob, really disgusting, in your face, shut up loud, throwing money around kind of person. And I was so watching Glenn Beadham and Pam's video, which made me embarrassed. I can't say it in any other way. All right. So who are the comedy friends that you have to see?
Well, I saw Gilly Apter yesterday.
I love Gilly.
She's here for a bit.
She's also shooting the lights out. She's been overseas kicking ass. She's really good.
We'll hopefully see Nina Hasty at some point.
Oh, if you could avoid that if possible. She's a complete nutcase.
She's
we love her too.
One of my favorites, and
she's insane.
I don't know who.
I love her video during the worst of load shedding. She was doing the most hilarious videos you could ever imagine on there as well.
Yes,
she was putting up these things that there's no electricity. Did you see any of that?
No.
Oh my God! You just watch these other people; they're brilliant.
But she recently did one about paddle.
Yes, I did see that.
That's fun.
Are you also sick of people talking about paddle, cold plunges, and the sauna? Because these are the things that people, all people are talking about at the moment, especially guys. It's all they're talking about. Even Ben this morning was talking about it. It's enough.
And the thing is, what is especially sickening is when I do those things myself and then tell people about them. That's awful.
But you are doing those things, aren't you?
I'm occasionally doing
the
them
trend.
because paddle's actually is kind of
You
addictive.
that guy.
Is it? Because I want to get into it, but I'm worried about that. If it gets too addictive, I'm going to be sad.
No, but the thing is, you will injure yourself, and then it'll be less addictive, and then you'll be cured of it.
Sure.
You'll tear your Achilles.
Do you worry about getting old?
Yes, I do a little bit.
You worry about like aches and pains? Because I had a screwed up shoulder this week, and I suddenly thought, this is probably the beginning of like what it feels like to not wake up absolutely healthy every day and not have any aches and pains. And it really frightened the hell out of me. I went to the chiropractor on Wednesday and he sorted me out, and I was so happy after that.
Oh, yes.
I thought I'm happier now than in my 20s when I got laid.
Yeah.
How is this possible? That just going to the chiropractor.
I love going to my chiropractor.
It's the best.
He's amazing. And he's always like, Rabinovitz, are you scared of needles? I'm like, not afraid. I'm not. It's fine. And then he sounds
like he's from Joburg.
For like 20 minutes. No, I think he's from Slummies. He's from Slummies.
Oh, even worse.
And he's like, but everyone's taking mushrooms. Did you see like Rob from Fury is taking like kombucha? And I took mushrooms once. We went to the spa. We all held hands. There were like 8 of us. We went up the mountain. I said goodbye. I literally said goodbye to myself. I was floating like a cloud above myself. And anyway, I'm going to put a needle in now. Okay. You're not afraid of needles, Rabinovitz?
He doesn't give you a chance to talk.
No,
I love that. All right, George Mienie's here, everybody. George
Hello,
is here
George.
to tell us we're going to talk about cars. We're going to talk about a whole lot of other things. Isn't it nice to have Nik Rabinowitz here?
Very nice.
Oh, it's very good.
I don't know anything about cars.
No, you don't, because you probably walk everywhere, don't
My
you?
electrician said I'm like a woman going to buy a new car because I don't understand how a single-phase inverter works with 3-phase electricity.
Like 3 major concepts.
He's like, you just put in a sub DV board.
That's
It's
very
simple. A sub
complicated.
DV board.
So what's up, George? What do you got for us?
Well, there is a VW camper which
I hate those things.
which is up for sale.
Ooh, split screen.
Who would want to?
1972.
Who would want to buy that? Do you like those
Me.
things? You like a camper?
Van life, amazing.
No, dude.
In the back.
Really? Is this
Yeah.
because you've got children and it's the best way to go on holiday?
Well,
and
I've
keep
got
them in?
3, so I have to do police van life where there's a grate between us and them.
No, but this is something actually Graham Watkins, the singer, told me he and his wife are into this camping thing. They go out into the. No, I agree with you.
My wife hates camping. I like camping.
I couldn't do it. I mean, it's just there's no running water or electricity. They share those communal toilet blocks.
You say no electricity?
That's sorry. So that completely is redundant. Carry on. What is this camper going for?
Well, this camper is going for 6,800 euros. You should have an image of it there. They use this camper as a little kiosk and as well as a burger stand, and I suppose it could be used to sleep in.
Why are we paying euros for it though?
Because it's for sale in Europe.
Oh, I see.
But it looks like absolute.
Oh no!
Is this it? The
Yes,
shitty.
that's it.
This is like a. Oh my God! What a horrible looking thing! It's like a log cabin on a Beetle. Just come and look at this, Rabinovitz. Look at that.
That's
hideous
horrible.
thing. It's hideous. They're selling that for 6,000 euros.
6,000 euros. So you were speaking about the aliens earlier.
Yeah.
And one
If
of
the
your
aliens
friends
landed and they saw this, they would go back. They would go, there's nothing we can learn from these people. There's no point in being here. What a stupid thing. Someone will buy it, though.
Someone will buy it. Well, it was used at VW rallies, apparently.
Oh wow!
It's,
What has the world come
Should
to?
use it in EFF rally.
Do you know what the word combi stands for in VW combi?
No.
Kombinationskraftwagen.
It always sounds so aggressive
Yeah.
in German, doesn't
It
it? Kombination Kraftwagen. But what is a G-Wagon again? A Geländewagen.
Geländewagen. That's it.
Also sounds
Nick
angry.
can sell better.
All right, so that piece of shit's going for 6,000.
That's going for
6,000
6,000 euros, which is what, about 100 grand, maybe 120 grand.
Okay, well, you learn something new. There's a fool born every minute. Someone will buy it.
Someone will buy it. But apparently it was used at VW rallies. And it's actually for sale in Italy.
As long as it wasn't used at Nuremberg rallies, we're okay with it, right?
I actually have PTSD from. I owned a Beetle that. Do you remember those Beetles where the accelerator cable would get stuck? And then I had to develop my own technique because you'd be going along and there'd be a robot in front of you, but you couldn't slow down because the accelerator cable was stuck in position. So you were still going 60 when you stopped at the robot, and then you had to use your left foot like on the diagonal like this to depress the clutch and the brake while you pulled up the handbrake and then kick the accelerator.
It's a miracle you're alive.
Yeah, it doesn't drive.
It's a miracle you're alive. That is absolutely horrific.
He was traumatized.
Yep. Hitler's revenge. They called it.
What else you got for us?
And then do you ever I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but when manufacturers put out new cars and they're testing them,
They give them these terrible names.
They're trying
like Tiguan.
They try and disguise them.
Oh,
They're trying to disguise them.
I've
So
never-
there's another image there of a BMW M5 that was spotted.
See.
This is the M5 E61. So, but what I can't understand
What's
is
the disguise? I mean,
Exactly.
there's the pattern on it.
There's the pattern on
What
it.
you can't photograph it. What's the story?
They
What
try.
is-
They try and take the badges off it, and
I think you can see that's a BM.
yeah, that definitely is a BM.
But why do they do this?
Well, it's because they don't want it noticed. Sometimes they do them in South Africa.
Why wouldn't they just take it to one of those test facilities, which are in any case nobody goes to them?
Yeah.
And you could drive them really fast. You don't have other traffic to worry about. What are they testing?
Well, I mean, I've seen some manufacturers test cars in our middle of the Free State, and I think they test them in different weather
I
conditions.
mean, in the Free State, they wouldn't notice if you had all the badges on. They go, "You're nog 'n car."
So
They don't know what's going on. They don't even know what day of the week it is in Bloemfontein.
This M5 is a 2010 M5 E61, which is a very, very popular station wagon. I mean, station wagons disappeared.
And no one's noticing station wagons.
And this one is apparently making a bit of a comeback.
Really?
Sure.
Mhm.
What do you think of station wagons, Simphiwe?
No.
Not for you.
No. Those things, I don't understand why they were invented in the first place. Like a car needs to be sexy, and that's
station
not
wagon is the
sexy.
least sexy thing. It's there's only one thing that's worse than that, and that's a pedophile van.
Sure.
Don't you think? I mean, those ones that
Like the A-Team?
Yeah, where the door opens and some guy grabs a child and climbs back in. That's not good.
That's the problem. Someone told me
Blacktop
recently
windows.
with dating in PE is because people own those kind. Some woman told me like it's really hard to find someone on Tinder in PE who doesn't
have a van,
have a borehole or an inverter or one of those vans.
Oh my God. It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
PE's bad enough. You've just made it worse.
I went there to do a show for the last remaining Jews of PE. They're
How
like
many?
The black
4 of them?
rhinos. 64 black rhinos.
Really? Is that it? Huh?
105. It's decreasing as we speak.
Is it hard for the Yorks to book you? I mean, have the Jews completely booked you out? Is it
No,
possible
I mean, it's just Yeah, maybe.
Seems
Could
to me
be.
like you're in very high demand in that particular population group.
I think I have to. It's because you have to capitalize before extinction.
Okay, I get you.
Because like, we could all be
No.
gone
It's
soon.
there are only 12 million in the world.
Yeah.
It's a tiny, tiny fraction.
Yeah.
And yet, many people, so many people reserve an enormous amount of
Yes.
hatred.
Yes.
Right? It's just
Yes.
unbelievable. 12 million. You'd think by now people would be like, wow, a Jew.
What is Modi's definition of anti-Semitism? Hating Jews more than you're allowed.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, there's a serious point. Let's go back to George before we get into trouble.
Interesting. Car trivia is better.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You got some trivia?
I've got some trivia.
All right, let's go. You're
So,
in
let's
on
see.
this.
You're
You
in
can
on the trivia.
Press your
Okay.
buzzer.
You're in.
All right,
Press
so
your
you're
buzzer.
ready.
So
Let's go.
what year was the first commercial car radio introduced?
What year was the first commercial?
Yeah.
I'd say it must be sometime in the 50s.
1956.
Oh,
I'd say maybe 52.
Spiwe?
1959.
1930.
Oh wow,
Sure.
we're all too far in the. It was way before.
Can you remember? I remember the first car radio we got on our Beetle.
What, is this the one that you had to drive in that
Not
particular
that one.
way
It
that
was
you said?
another. It was my mom's one, and I was in the back seat I was in the what do you call the? I was like 3 years old. I was in the
Car seat?
car seat. Yeah, no,
Baby seat.
We didn't use those in those days. I'm joking. I wasn't in the baby seat. I was
strapped in.
in the dog box.
In the back.
Dog box.
Yeah.
Do you remember the dog
Yeah,
box
that
in the
little,
Beetle?
little compartment
It was
behind the back
reserved for
seat.
my dad when he pissed off my mom.
So
metaphorically,
did you have a car radio with a tape, a cassette thing in it?
No,
or
there was no
just the-
cassette. I
just
remember
the
there
radio?
was nothing there, and then I got picked up at Peter Ainsley's house in Sikufle, and suddenly there was a thing there and a 3-meter aerial
You could
outside.
turn knobs.
You could turn knobs.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys have been through a lot.
And then
Yo.
you'd have to retune it around the mountain because in Cape Town you had different signals.
And you could listen to Martin Bailey on Radio 5.
Wow, that's a
Okay.
long time ago.
Wow.
Then they brought out those ones because we had so many car radios stolen with the detachable face.
Yes.
Remember that?
Before
The
that,
CD
you could pull
players.
the entire radio out. Remember?
And you'd have to take it
Take
to
it with
supper
you.
with you.
Yeah. Daniel Chaliff would walk into the law cafeteria library with his face and his keys and his wallet and phone, and you like a 3310.
Those- But not
block.
the big
Yeah,
car
the
phone. With
brick.
a massive battery on it.
Yep.
Oh, wow. We've come a long way. Now
Sure.
you get everything on your phone. All right, next question.
Next question. What year was the first manual retractable hardtop convertible invented?
Yo.
Retractable. That was the Mercedes SLK, and it was in 99, 2000.
No, it's preceding the radio.
Oh, God.
Sure.
How could we have got that wrong?
So
I
1950.
thought they only had soft tops before.
Apparently, the hardtop was invented or brought out in 1922.
Yo.
Oh. So I've got 0 for 0. You've also got 0. You've got 0. No
0 for
points
0.
so far.
This one I think is going to be a fight to the finish because
Go on.
it's not that hard. Who is the protagonist in the Disney Pixar film Cars?
So I've never seen it.
I've seen Cars.
Come on. You've got to know this. You've got children.
Yeah.
Can you give us any further
It's
information?
that little red car.
Yes, the red car.
Yeah, but what's its name?
What's its name? The red car.
I only know
never
that from
watched
the
Cars.
the posters and things.
Lightning.
Steve?
Lightning. Almost. This is the
Lightning.
second name. Lightning. McQueen.
Lightning.
Lightning
Steve
McQueen.
McQueen.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do I get half a
You
point?
get half a point for that.
Thank
I
you.
think Gareth got half a
Right.
point.
Is that all you got for us,
No,
George?
2 more. Where did the sports car originate? Which continent?
America. Got to be America.
No.
China.
No.
Europe.
Europe. There we go.
Damn you,
Nick's
Nick.
got one.
Process of elimination. Just wait to go
Deduction.
last. You'll
Yeah.
do better.
And last question for the win. What was the name of the 1969 Dodge Charger in the Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh. Damn.
I'm going to go with. I'm desperate here. I don't know. So Duke or Hazard.
No. It's a
Nick's gonna
southern.
get it.
It's a southern Dixie. It's a southern name. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, almost. The General Lee.
Oh, damn it. God. Okay. I
That was
actually
close.
should have known that. How embarrassing.
How
Nick wins.
racist.
Nick wins.
Nick, our guest this
Generally.
morning is the winner of George's quiz. Nice stuff,
Nice
George. You
stuff.
see, we're getting worse at this, but our guests are getting better.
Yeah.
There we go.
It was generally with a Confederate flag on the back.
That's right. It caused a whole lot of noise and nonsense, and
Mm.
people wanted it cancelled as
Yep.
well. So Nik Rabinowitz is at the Theatre on the Square until the 5th of August.
That's correct.
Book your tickets now. He will talk about
Compute
everything,
Tickets, I
including
believe.
his son's bar mitzvah.
Actually, don't talk about that. I wrote that press release before the show, and then the bar mitzvah went very smoothly. Thank you, Rabbi.
Nothing
no
went wrong.
material. No material.
Okay,
there.
okay, very good. And no trauma.
No trauma.
Very good.
Yeah.
Because you know,
Although actually-
Baruch Hashem Adonai, you have to do the whole thing. Do you remember yours?
Ready?
With your voice breaking.
And then like a week later, he got cast in a movie where he's a bar mitzvah boy, and they shot him doing his exact same portion of the Old Testament in the movie.
Wow.
I don't want to give up the plot away.
Your son is a movie star.
But the rabbi then gets abducted by criminals.
What?
Because he's been, I don't want to give too much away.
This sounds exciting.
And then the criminals, I was there on set, so I watched. The criminals then say to my son, who's acting in the film, "Get out of here, kid. They're men talking." And then he delivered the line, "I'm a man."
Because he just had his bar mitzvah. I love it. All right.
Thanks for
you
having
don't
me, guys.
No, what a pleasure. It's so good to see you. And George, we will catch up with you next week.
See you later.
Simphiwe, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, bo.
Very nice. All right, everybody. Have an